hit that button, tell it it's
I'm
a
not
bad
gonna
boy.
lie, when you said witch's hats, I didn't assume what you were talking about. I just thought, oh, he could turn the Hillsways into looking like a witch hat, I guess. And then you bring up witch's hat, I'm like, oh, he means the plastic cones.
Yeah.
That makes more sense.
Have you never stole them?
No.
I have, yes. I have been very drunk and I have walked around with a witch's hat on my head before.
There's a reason they started making them heavier down here.
Maybe twice.
And that's some criminal activity here. And that might be due to criminal activity in game chat. What's up?
Hello.
Welcome to session
This is
65 of Echoes of the Forgotten. Hooray! Sadly, we are down McKay. She's experiencing like one of the last final raids of Destiny for the first time on day 1, so we were like, okay, I guess. Everyone is shamed her appropriately, of course, yes. For playing Destiny 2, not for skipping on D&D. That's a whole different thing. But yeah.
Clearly.
We're ready to go, I guess. We're a little late. Not too late, but a little late. So let's get it going. Darian, what happened last time?
Last time on Echoes, the gatekeepers caught up with Fred and Jake, Xavier's supervisors, and gave them a rundown about what's been going on since Xavier lost his sending stone. They also received a bit of an explanation on what the two of them had been doing, and why they were hiding out in an abandoned farm in the middle of Arnkig territory. After going over details and preparing to rest for the night, Xavier received a bit of tutelage from Jake. The next morning, the duo set off north to try and find evidence of the Gavel's connection to the weapons smuggling for the Scarlet Spear, and the party continued east towards Andivine. Reaching the city, they tried to crash in Zerosh's manor, but were shot down when he wasn't in town, and the head maid wouldn't just let them stay because they claimed to be friends. After that, there was some shopping, and the next day they left Andivine, continuing towards Samaria. With the final few days of travel concluded, party rests up for the night while Sylvie sends to her contact so that they can meet up the next day and go over the final details of actually getting into the city.
That's where we'll continue. Sylvie, you've picked up your your stone as everyone else is sort of peering off the road for the evening.
Cool. Yeah, she basically just sends out one day out from one rendezvous. Please specify meetup location.
Roger. Follow the convoy. Group up with the other caravanners. At dusk, enter the black tent nearby.
Okay, would I be able to possibly get a rough writing of that so I can write it down? Thank you. Alright. Follow the convoy, group up with the other caravans at dusk into the black tent nearby. Okay. A convoy. So I'm assuming there's like convoys that are going in that direction, but we just follow that.
Yeah, so you weren't here for last time for it, but there are other people traveling either to or from this direction.
Okay.
Most have like what looks like more like wagons for trade of some variety. But you guys are just pulled off to the road in one of the spots. There's a few other like campsites you can see from where you are, but yeah, there's other like caravanners around.
And where are we at this point in time? Are we on the road right now, or we were like
You're
just leaving?
probably
or-
veering off the road to set up for the evening.
Okay, cool. Yeah, she would have walked off a little bit to send, and then she's walked back to the rest of the group. Just been like, well, I've been given instructions. We are to just follow the convoy, group up with the other caravanners on the road, and at dusk enter a black tent nearby. Seems pretty straightforward. Just keep an eye out for a black tent. Looking to everyone else.
Okay, but what if there's two black tents?
Well, that would cause a problem, wouldn't it?
Do we split into both the black tents?
I imagine there'll probably only be one.
I
Ooh,
don't know.
come
Looks at my tents that I bought. What color were they?
Like a tan color.
Sam will make his own black tent.
Given dye in general is expensive, they're mostly just like either
I
the
assume it's just
whitish,
leathery or
like
something.
yeah, like a leather or like an off-white or like just the color of like just tan.
Whatever hide or skin that they're made of is typically their color.
Yeah, or whatever oil they treated it with to make it waterproof.
Say, we don't worry about this right now. If the issue comes up, we deal with it then. Don't think that we'll have the problem. I feel like they usually only come in tan most of the time. Black doesn't seem to be the most common of tent colors.
It'll
Just
turn
another
black
blood
eventually.
leather.
Anyway,
Alright. So yeah, if there's anything else anyone wants to do tonight, we can easily just skip forward to the next morning, where people packing up. You see other groups. There's like at least a half dozen other wagons on the road. Some behind you, some ahead of you, but it doesn't take long for you all to pack your things up and get on the road as well. And whether intentional or just coincidental, eventually pretty much everyone slowly forms a sort of caravan. As you keep traveling towards where what is considered to be this kind of no man's land of the quote cold civil war. It seems like the traders who are in this area, some of whom have guards of their own, naturally trying to go for a bit of more numbers for safety kind of situation.
that makes sense.
Yeah, it's like the ones who are ahead of you, whether consciously or unconsciously, have slowed down a bit on the active thing of like trying to get you guys to catch up, because then there's more wagons, more people, less chance of being attacked.
Do we still have like all of those like random little things like the furs and silks and all that stuff?
It was a whole bunch of random shit that looked for board.
Yeah.
Don't worry about
Yeah,
it.
there is so much random crap in the caravan now.
You want an actual list?
Sure.
So we've got stuff that was bought, not the mop. Let's see, we've got 10 sacks, a tarp for the cart, even though it's not necessary, 3 tents, which are they're 2-person tents typically, block and tackle, and a 10-foot ladder.
Yep.
And there was something else, but I've now fucking.
Sarah has slowly been adding random items like random branches, leaves, and rocks she picks off the ground as they travel.
Something else I bought and put in here. Oh, blankets. 6 blankets.
So we could easily pass as like, well, we don't look like traders, but I imagine like
You do.
we have
The
goods.
whole plan was to look like traders.
Yeah, a lot of this was bought so Arkva could essentially hide and sort of make a little fort out of
No,
it.
no,
make it look like
even the wagon had some minor,
Yeah.
small crates and barrels to help you guys pose as an ongoing caravan.
Okay.
What else is
and-
So you have just assisted in that process. Plus, I think Akfa also upgraded your wagon from an open top to a closed wagon now.
I think
So
we
you
did
have
that from
a-
the very start, to be honest. We just never
remember.
really made that clear.
Either way, so now it's like, while the group of you would stick out if you're all just walking around, if a person's driving a wagon and most of the people are in the back, you don't really stand out.
If they
Oh,
touch
as long
stuff
as
in the
we-
back, you have a stop. Mimic.
As long as we stick with strength in numbers, as they suggested, I'm sure we should fit right in. We have the goods. We do look a little unusual as traders, but I guess desperate times call for desperate money-making measures. We could always make up a thing that we're originally adventurers and I don't know, something.
Could also be said that I am just the hired muscle that is accompanying and driving the van.
Hmm.
I am in fact in full armor, so that should easily make a good alibi, for me at least.
Yeah, as you
Yep.
continue on the road, it only takes about an hour or two, maybe max 2 hours, before you start seeing the signs of probably more heavily armed camp setup. As you've been traveling, you've seen riders moving forth and back. You've seen small groups of soldiers traveling either to or from the front. messengers running in like with their horses going very fast. There's the point where you start to see proper like not fortifications, but you see like tents and whatnot. Very far out, like small clusters of them, but probably like outlying scouting groups, like scouting for the rear. And passing them, it's more and more activity the further east you head.
Okay, so we're sticking close to other groups. I might roll perception just to see, like, just anything out of the interest, like out of the ordinary. Like, I know this place is a very kind of tumultuous at the moment. Like to see if there's anything that is interesting, like in the way that people are acting, and then like the type of people that are around, or yeah.
You see a lot of
Yeah.
normal everyday people. There are a couple things that put you a little out of ease, like a couple of the caravanners are talking as they're walking quite loudly, like saying, "Oh, hoping to make a profit today," which is kind of weird. You're like, this is like wartime, this thing, what's going on? But you probably gather that, yeah, this is probably a big thing that these traders can earn a lot of money in, as a lot of people have to be grouped up for supplies. I don't think there's really much else of note. You spot ahead, there is a path, probably another, on the horizon. You can see where the road splits, and you see that a good number of people are heading a little more northwest than everyone else. And a very small line that seems to break like every 5 to 6 wagons. Is like a wagon that's continuing to go towards what you assume is the city proper.
Okay.
Would with my I'm not sure if there were many back where I came from, but could I reasonably be able to deduce any potential weak points in the in like people's caravans as they're going down the road?
There weren't a whole lot of caravans in Scarlet Severe because the area is so mountainous and rocky. But what do you mean by weak points? Are you thinking like damage, or like, oh, you could attack it and like sneak in here, or what do you mean by weak points?
As in places for infiltration and that sort of stuff, to disrupt and that sort of things. Because I believe that's what I would have been doing up there anyways, if we did come across one. Considering that,
so you're surveying the landscape to see if there's chance of ambushes.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, you can roll a survival or perception, I guess.
I will use perception. I think with the eye patch I get advantage if I'm just looking at it. Yeah, I do.
Go ahead.
I'll take
Oof, that was lucky.
So with a 15, this area would be pretty hard to ambush people. Most of Amaris is a very large, open, rolling grasslands. Like, it's not very hilly, there's not a lot of trees. Sure, there's longer grasses in some spot people might better hide in, but it would be pretty hard to, like, sneak up on and ambush a person in broad daylight in this particular situation. Like, if you're keeping your eyes open, you can usually see people coming a long while away.
Though, as you get closer to this bottleneck where the two bays of water meet, there's probably still a large gap between the beaches that are there, but you do say that there are sand dunes that one potentially could hide behind, but by the time they get out of it, it's still a distance that everyone should be able to see any people coming there.
It doesn't take much longer in traveling for you guys to finally spot the first signs of the real army. You've been able to see probably the smoke from all the campfires and everything happening for a while now, but as you guys reach this split, following the majority of the caravan, you guys head to the northwest. A couple wagons turn and keep heading east, but continuing along this path, coming into sight are just dozens upon dozens upon dozens of tents spread out in a like very large open area to the north, getting closer towards where the water is, and makeshift fortifications that are being built around this area. And you can, like, from a distance, you can see, like, you know, basic walls, the occasional watchtower. There's lots and lots of tents. There is definitely a large armed force here, which don't plan on moving, at least for a while.
As we get closer and towards more of the tents, could I use my past history knowledge to know, like, where certain tents would be? Like, where would the medical tent be? Where would the armory be?
Yeah, given your experience, honestly, with being as part of, like, you know, you grew up around these war camps with the Salt Spear and whatnot, there's not a role for this. You would know that, like, a majority of the important people would be in the center of the main camp, which would be, you know, where all the soldiers are, you know, to get orders out. Most of the ferries and whatnot for mounts and whatnot, and everything will be on the far side, usually in the rear of the camp. You know that most medical stuff is kind of nearer to this, like, it's in a bit, but not like right in the middle. That's usually, you know, eating, and the command is like right in the center, and everyone else around it is just people who have to do things. You also know that most war camps like this have a secondary camp that move with them. Sometimes they're a part of them, sometimes they're separate, and that's where you'll find most tradespeople. So, like, blacksmiths, farriers, you're, like, you know, fixing horseshoes and whatnot, fletchers making arrows, pretty much anything that an army would need to keep moving. That's like the secondary camp would have those people in them. But you'll find very few active soldiers in that camp. It's mostly civilians there for profit.
You could probably understand that's the path that you'd be going through.
Yeah, like, once these, like, you guys spot the second camp behind the first one, it is not as big, but still relatively large, and almost all of the wagons start heading towards the secondary camp. Like, I think the only one that would probably head towards the main camp, you notice, like, as they split off, they're, like, far behind you guys. You look back, and it's actually a wagon of, like, a couple dozen soldiers.
I will relay that information in a semi-hushed voice so that they could hear, but not as much to draw attention, as we are still currently on the road.
Yep. And yeah, if there's anything anyone wants to do as you guys approach the secondary camp, just let us know. But as you are moving towards it, the convoy is essentially breaking up and spreading out, as it seems like there isn't exactly a, like, there isn't any organization for people. Since this is not like an organized military camp, it looks like people just setting up their tents wherever there's space for the most part.
So this is around dusk?
You guys are at this point, like, it's actually still pretty early in the day.
Probably around midday.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Like, yeah, you reach the camp, these camps around midday, probably like 1-ish PM.
So I'm going to gather that this is probably where they mean by the tent, but they want us to get there at dusk. So at this point in time, like,
Yeah, as you're going up, you can all see, like, there's a large number of tents, and, like, there seems to be, like, a pretty big circle in like the center, and one of those tents in the center circle seems to be black. Like, you can point that out as you're traveling up, sort of deal.
she makes note of it. She doesn't sort of openly point it out. She kind of just sees it, like, probably turns to the rest and, like, sort of mentions it quietly. I guess we just wait out until dusk at this point. Maybe pretend to be setting up our own little setup here.
Alright.
How many tents?
How many? I mean, a lot. Would you like me to count?
No, how many you need?
I mean, as many as you'd like, really. I don't know if we're staying here or not.
We aren't. Get the information we need. And leave. I would say not to avoid not to attract attention. Probably at first light.
We'll see what happens when we reach the tent at dusk. Till then, keep our heads low and not draw too much attention to ourselves. We are, as you would say, in the hornet's nest. See, I just I take the time to like sort of set up a little bit. Like I'll just help whoever's sort of setting up. I'm assuming, like after you, are you going to be like hiding out in the?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, cool.
I got my
Yeah.
spot. It's comfortable.
I just go in there and just like make sure it's all adjusted so it's like over you and be like, yep, you're good. Yep.
I got
And,
a book. Not that I can read it.
But yeah, it's just like set up if like maybe like I mean if there's like they can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of us.
Hmm.
So I guess we'd set up like 2 tents.
Well, tens can sleep 2 each, so
Yeah.
here is
Be
3.
like yeah, okay. Yeah, set up some tents.
Yeah.
A number of tents.
You could do 2 and argue that the guard sleeps in the car.
Yeah, he's not allowed to sleep in the tents with us.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so you guys move on in. You pull off somewhere. Just pick a spot at random, I'm guessing.
Yeah, sort of somewhere that's not like too far out that it looks like we're trying to avoid it, but also not too far in that it like, you know, we're right in the thick of it. Just
Yeah.
in that, you know, like perfect little zone of kind of inconspicuousness or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, nearer to the edge of the secondary camp, but like not, you know, fucking not like fully separated from it.
Exactly.
So yeah, you move over. Eventually, you find a spot. You just like circle around the camp a little bit and then pick a space, park your wagon. You know, get the horses set up however you want. Set your tents up. There's no issue. A few people, you know, like honestly, quite a lot of people watch as you pull up because you know new faces in this area. Some people you can clearly tell are sizing you up. Like, are they selling the same kind of stuff I'm selling? Is this more competition? Other people are looking at you as if you're customers to be sold things to. But at the moment, as you arrive, most people seem to stick to themselves, and you can probably tell, like, you've got a bit of peace before people start trying to figure out what your deal is.
Anyone who's sort of trying to like do the size me up, like what's their deal, I make eye contact with them and size them up like I'm looking at them like,
Yeah, you know what? Make it's like you're trying to intimidate them.
no, like a, yeah, you know, those pants, they kind of work, but, yeah, not too bad. Maybe a 6 out of 10. That's a solid
Someone
6 out
a
of
catty
10.
way. I think
Yeah,
still
yeah,
intimidation.
I think, I still think intimidation on that. You aren't trying to scare them. You're just trying to make them feel small.
services are we selling?
That's so great. What about persuasion? No, that's fine. Persuading them to feel small. Alright, come on, give me a good roll.
I think there's only
Give me
one
one.
courier
You know
that
what?
can handle
I'll
that,
take
and
that.
I think it's so crew.
Yeah, like you people, it's like very clearly sizing you guys up, trying to see. You size them up back. A few people like meet your gaze, like, fuck you, you're not hot shit. I've been here longer than you, so I'm not going to be cowed away. Some people are the opposite reaction, where like you stare them down, give them the very clear up and down, like, huh, that's what you're at, really? And they like one guy like turns red and like starts walking away, like embarrassed.
Blows him a kiss.
That doing this, you notice a few people like that were paying more attention seem to actively turn and like avoid you guys, but it also seems to have drawn more attention from some people.
Okay.
It's a 50-50. Like some people who were sizing you guys up have either backed off or up. You can assume by looking at them, they either backing down because you've intimidated them in some way, or they're like, nah, fuck them, I can't be bothered.
I was just flirting with them.
Yeah. But there's other people who more and more intrigued about that are now going to pay more attention to you.
Okay.
Some people are like, yeah, okay, we into this.
As long as they're paying attention to me.
Yeah, like you've drawn more attention to yourself, less than the rest of the crew.
That's the plan.
Easy. So you guys set up camp. You have essentially about at least 5 or 6 hours before sundown. What do you want to do before dusk?
While we're kind of walking and setting up and stuff, I want to take note of people's faces and appearances to look in my mind if I potentially want to turn into one of them and steal their crap.
There are a lot of faces around, so you can definitely get a very large mental catalog of people. Almost no one is traveling alone. You can tell just from looking around. Groups are at least 2 or 3 people at the minimum. There's, like, for instance, you see blacksmith. There's the main guy who seems to be clearly the blacksmith. There's usually some kind of driver, like, person who probably drove the wagons and whatnot, who doesn't look anywhere near as, like, burly and whatnot. And then there's usually a guard of some kind, some mercenary hired on. For merchants, there's a merchant. There's probably an apprentice with them, and then there's maybe like someone who's hauling stuff as well. So you don't see any. Like, most people know better than to travel alone.
I'm probably gonna steal something tonight.
Fair enough.
I would like to know, with my dark vision and being essentially buried, how much of this book can I comprehend, and have I even opened it?
Well, dark vision doesn't let you see in pitch black; it only lets you see in low light, essentially.
So,
Which would still let you. It would still let you read a book, given your caravan would not completely filter all light. It would just be difficult because you're trying to read and like the words are really, it's kind of like faded, and you're like, oh, what the fuck is this? Like, is this English? Is this common, or is this Elven? I don't know. I don't even know what Elven is.
With disadvantage.
You don't know where word starts and page begin.
Yep, definitely.
The 22, you've managed to find a slight like hole in the side of the wagon, and you're like just holding the book up so you can see the light through the hole, like moving the actual book to keep the light on it.
Oh shit! I rolled smart.
It wouldn't be the first time.
Is it good smart?
Yeah, Bernie and Nate.
No, worse.
It's my tentacled heart.
Oh no.
Damn, Jacob, I didn't know you were into that kind of stuff.
Neither did Agfa.
Anyone else?
I do have a question.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
What is the climate like around these parts?
Oh, very fun. It's cold. It is becoming winter proper. You're in like the end of the first month, so the cold season's probably about to hit hard, especially at a beach. So once it gets like colder, as you're in this sort of, as you're surrounded by the oceans and sort of both sides, it's kind of probably going to get very, very cold. Not like middle of the desert at night kind of cold, but you know.
Not
Is
great.
Not great.
Is it going to be cold and damp for mushroom weather?
Honestly, probably. Like, there's not a lot of hills and there's not a lot of trees, so there's very few things to break the breeze. So that the wind coming in off the ocean is coming in salty and cold, and it's just sweeping across the land.
Just like home.
Like it was not as cold as the ice storm you were in, but like you could tell that this is like a lesser version of that.
Yeah. Like, it's probably not going to snow, but it's still like, in terms of Celsius, probably like at night you'd be looking at like the 1 to 3 degree range.
So
It's
it's
just
like
Tasmania.
Melbourne winter. It doesn't snow, but it's fucking cold.
Yeah,
basically
fair
just
enough.
Tasmania this time of year.
Okay.
It's like
Tasmania
central Tasmania with its frozen puddles. No snow, just frozen puddles.
Yeah, like you might find the grass might be frosted in the morning. If you left like wet clothes out at night, they might be frozen to a sheet.
It's like not snowing, but the water's still freezing.
Yeah, like you would not want to swim in this water. This is like, honestly, it reminds me. I did when I did scuba lessons in the middle of winter in 2 degree water. Horrible idea. You do not feel like a human when you come out of the water.
Great for
Can't
the
feel your body
adrenaline, though.
anymore.
No, all you feel is sad and sore. So yeah, if that answers your question, it's cold and wet.
Okay.
You do see that, like, because of that, there seems to be several groups sharing, like, several large bonfire-esque campfires. Like, not a full-on bonfire, but somewhere, like a large campfire. There seems to be several circles that are being made. Even
They don't smell good.
Yeah, even the one in the middle, with the tents in the circle with the black tent is like quite a big one there. There's people as towards probably around 2 or 3 o'clock. You see people going off looking for wood.
Is there a sword in said bonfire?
No. And like these open plains, like I said, not a lot of trees. So the things that are mainly being burnt here, what wood people can find, probably what driftwood people can dry up, a lot of grass for kindling, and probably various kinds of shit.
Great.
The larger bonfires don't smell too great.
It's just like one of our first sessions where Akfa made the bonfire out of, like, I can't even remember what kind of shit he used, but he just used shit.
Yeah.
Do you remember that? I remember that. Selena remembers that.
I think that was in the wastes. The first night you were in there, you made a fire with poo.
Worth it.
Fire and shit, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so
Right.
that's mainly the situation.
Okay.
Did you think of what you wanted to ask Dimitri?
Would I be able to clock the guards' rotations?
Which guards?
The ones in the big town around the net, around the
Yeah.
where we're meant to be going.
Yeah. You don't really. There are a lot less guards and more just like a group of mercenaries that are like sort of just chilling by these large tents that probably have goods in them, sort of sitting at the front of them, walking around the small perimeter of one tent, talking to each other, but still within vision of their own, like what they're supposed to be guarding. There's no real proper rotation. It's just these people are hired to guard something. They'll switch out whenever they feel like and talk to whoever they want.
Or were you meaning like the main camp?
Like, are you
I
going-
was meaning both where we're meant to be going to.
which
and-
is nearby.
Yep.
Yeah.
And the
Yeah, like
the
the-
war camp.
Yeah.
That's a couple kilometers away.
Oh, that one? Okay, then never mind.
Yeah, you can
That's like-
see it.
Like people are traveling from this camp to that one. You see people traveling from that camp to this one, but they are very clearly separated.
We get an idea of what it seems like each sort of caravan specializes in.
Yeah.
Variety of goods. Some of them are bringing, you can tell, like, very clearly the ones that are bringing in food almost immediately start selling it to people around the area. Some are bringing in firewood for this exact reason, also immediately selling it to people who are having the bonfires. Others are bringing basic weapons and armor. Some are bringing in wood, arrows, like feathers, arrow shafts, just like things like that.
Like even here, you see several of these tents have like a lot more durable leather on them, and they're like a bit more open face, and they're like pseudo smithies. Like they've got makeshift furnaces and an anvil there to like repair equipment.
Hell, there's even like more like these massive, probably like 10 or 12 meter long tents that people have that are selling alcohol and stuff, and they bring in wagons with booze, which then going there and being sold. Hell, there's even a whole lot of sex workers because
Couple of brothel
Yeah.
tents.
and a lot of places to gamble. The three things that soldiers like to spend money on when they're at war. There's only 3 things to spend money on: sex, alcohol, and gambling. So there's a lot of all 3 of those around.
I noticed that you didn't say any sort of like pet or animal distributors. Are there
Nope.
none, or?
There are people who have livestock, more like chickens and whatnot, which you can tell they're mainly probably for eggs and everything.
Yeah, like
Goats for
ongoing food.
milking.
But no working animals.
A lot of horses. You can see there's some people who there are farriers there who either work in horses, but there are no oxen to pull carts and whatnot. There's no one selling those kind of animals. There's people who have them, but they're pitched up next to some dude's tent, because you don't want someone stealing your ox or stealing your freaking draft horse.
Yeah, they're selling services, not the animals themselves.
Yeah.
Maybe the lowest you can get is not the lowest, the closest you can get to what you're thinking is there's someone selling messenger pigeons.
Yeah.
Or the service of them.
Okay, so I'm not gonna find someone selling insects or anything like that.
To eat maybe. I mean, food's food, and there are all walks of life here. These camps. These are not just all humans or all Jannar. There is everyone. You guys are relatively close up towards the Union of Azeroth. You guys are not super fast. There's a decent amount of draconic people in this area as well, and there's foods from all over. People are eating whatever they can get a hand on, and sometimes, there's it's sometimes transporting a large number of bugs is just as efficient as transporting other foodstuffs.
Given the climates of the savannah and the Union nearby, a good source of protein are going to be these hardy insects. So you've got a couple of Khajiit and draconic people just going food from the savannah, from the tribes in the north, etc. But there's not hardly really a sale pitch. It's a lot of what people are gauging here. People are selling things that they know people are gonna buy, whether it's soldiers or other caravanners. So there's no one standing going buy your fresh fruit here. They know that people want fresh fruit. They're gonna come and get the fresh fruit.
Yeah, the most advertising is a sign someone might have up with the symbol of bread, or a hammer.
And you
if
said
you're looking
what
for live
time it is?
insects,
Yeah, live insects.
I'm assuming I know why you want live insects, but
Probably.
the time of day, when you guys got to this camp, it's probably around 1 or 2ish. So you have about 3 or 4 hours to kill before sundown. At this point, after you've settled your stuff up, bit of time to walk around and explore. Yeah, you've got time to do things. Finding insects is a whole different question. Someone probably isn't selling any live ones, but where there's enough people, there's usually bugs.
I guess I'm going bug looking.
If you want to go hunting bugs, aside from various field bugs like worms and grasshoppers and whatnot, there'll obviously be some kinds of spiders around, small ones. If you're lucky, you might find some versions of field scorpion. But yeah, lots of various. You're an open grassy plain. There's a lot of bugs.
You can roll if you want, but you're probably, if you spend time doing this, there's not going to be a 0% chance. There are more bugs on this planet than any other people. So
yeah, I'll spend some time doing it.
Yep.
Honestly, if you're I'm gonna spend the next 4 hours catching bugs, you catch bugs.
Yeah.
There's not even a need to roll. You just catch a variety of bugs.
Okay.
We can roll at a table to see what types you catch if you would like.
I'm sorry, I don't have
If
a
you
book
guys
for
want
bugs.
to describe unique individual bugs,
No,
I'm not going to take that away from you.
don't.
Then let's just say I catch bugs.
You catch
End
bugs.
of scene.
Easy.
I'm checking if I have a PDF on bugs for you.
I mean, there's everything from the grasshoppers and worms to freaking probably millet worms, stuff like that. But weevils through wheat and stuff.
Look, my list only specifies 4 different types of bugs that I need, so it's
Yeah.
all good.
Yeah, you can
Yeah,
find
it's not a problem.
4 unique bugs.
Boog. Anyone else doing anything in the time, or we'll skip to the Tara?
We have any good food to eat tonight?
So you guys
Or,
have your
basic
ration.
rations and stuff.
Whatever rations you guys have, that's dried, saved meat.
Yep.
Breads, cheeses. There is food around you could get your hands on. Whether it's good is another question.
Really? I'm thinking.
It's edible.
Tara is gonna watch a couple of the people selling food, particularly probably looking for some people selling some decent looking meats. And she's gonna watch and wait for one of them to leave to maybe go to the bathroom or something. She's gonna take up their form and wander in like she belongs there, pack up some meat and leave.
Cool. Just do me a favor. Just make me a d20 into the tower
Okay.
before we start anything silly.
Oh dear.
Nat
I love this
Nat
segment.
one.
I should have got a fish jerky.
The fur
Yeah.
if you will.
So you watching a group of areas, like a little area, people are cooking up a large amount of various kinds of meat. You can't exactly tell what kind of meat it is, but they're cooking up something. And after a while, a couple of the cooks leave to have some kind of break or do whatever, leaving whatever they're cooking still going, probably has a while to cook before it's done. And you use this opportunity to shift into one of their forms when you think no one's looking and sneak on in. Very easy, make a stealth check.
I'm unfortunately not proficient in stealth, but I at least have a +4.
Yep.
That's
And
pretty good.
Good.
A 19, as you come walking in, you enter through like the back when the dudes leave through the front. No one really seems to pay attention to you as you look like one of the people who just walked out a few minutes ago. You make your way through the area, and your goal is to pilfer yourself some fresh meat.
Yep, just gonna grab some fresh meat, and if anybody like goes like, "Hey, what are you doing?" I'm gonna claim, made a good sale. Just bring it to them for a little bit of an extra pay.
All right, easy. Make a perception check then. Nat 20. Good. You look around, you notice there are various different kinds of meat around the area. Some probably taste better than others because some are like, you can tell, transported, probably salted, beef or live chicken that people might have bought from other people around the area that have been killed recently. Others you can tell in like a back area, kind of a way where you wouldn't be able to see it from the entrance. Just rats. A lot of rats just like strung up and like also bird, like various like ravens or other birds that aren't generally like you wouldn't normally eat these, but they're there. So you can very coolly spot like, oh, maybe I shouldn't take from those piles. And so yeah, you without too much effort, you scoop up enough probably for the group to have meal tonight into a little sack of some of the better meats, and you can mosey your way on out.
Yeah, sweet.
Yeah.
And then I'm gonna head back to where we set up like our tenting area, and with Mr. Squiggle's help, I'm gonna set up a little fire and I'm gonna start cooking the food.
Yeah.
I will leave some raw, as I believe Inazaz has seemed to show an interest in raw meat previously.
No problem. With Miss Squiggle's help, you make an easy fire. He can basically be the fire for you. And you can cook up some of the meat people. You essentially skipped out on people needing to worry about rations tonight.
Sweet.
And it's a nice hot meal of freshly cooked meat.
None of this is like none of this is grade A Wagyu. This is just like, the best you get is like, this is a good piece of meat. It's not gonna be like the best meat. Clearly that's not what's on sale here, but it's good. It's nice steaks.
It's rump steak, it's not Scotch fillet.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's discount at Woolworths.
Yeah, exactly.
It'll taste
than
alright, it's
rations.
just,
They say better than rations. But yeah.
I feel like that's the majority of what people are doing. As dusk starts to fall, as food is in your bellies, whether cooked or not, bugs found, books read, guards surveyed, and Sylvie doing Sylvie things.
Yep.
Night falls, as the hue of the beach is a pretty one, but it also does signal your time to leave.
Which one thing that helps as well, as the sun starts to set, you notice the secondary camp is actually getting busier and busier and busier, as you can tell more and more off-duty soldiers are showing up to spend their night as they will.
Okay.
Yeah, you guys can make your way towards the Black Tent if you want.
Yep. Everyone else ready to go?
I will. I'll mind the cart. This one.
Okay.
I mean,
guess it
did
would
you
be
expect
worth-
me to do it?
I feel like Arkva would probably be staying there. But if you want to stay there too.
It's mainly because, big, heavy armor, not good for stuffs.
Alrighty.
If that's the case, maybe I shouldn't go as well.
People that
Yeah,
stick out like a
isn't it
sore
well?
thumb shouldn't go, yeah.
I very much stick out like
You're
a sore
not-
thumb. Maybe I should.
You're also not part of the wanted,
That is true. Maybe I will go.
so
I'm
it's
not
kind
scared
of
of
Like
good
being
having
rare or
more-
anything though, they're pretty common, aren't they?
Yeah, I thought lizard folk were pretty common. I'm not sure about this.
I have
part
a
of the world.
massive mushroom cap. Thought of a
It's
dead giveaway.
Just your Toad cosplay. Just tell them that.
I just feel like having someone who sticks out, but not like
In the
you know,
bad
out
way.
of part
Yeah.
of- yeah, it's kind of just like, oh, it's definitely not these guys because
oh, I
I don't
wouldn't
remember
fuck
them
with
having a
that.
mushroom cap. Yeah.
But really likes his mushrooms.
Okay, so it's me. I'm assuming Christine would probably be going. I'm just going to assume that, and Inazaz and Terra.
Okay.
And the other two are going to stay there.
Yeah. As
Um,
the four of you.
Yeah, you go.
As the four of you make way, there's really no need to stealth. This area is quite busy at night, and you can probably just make do with people walking around this area.
Yeah.
Eventually, you all just gather up in front of the black tent. It doesn't take too long. You didn't really park super far away from it to keep an eye on it. And as you enter, you see sitting at what looks to be like a large table. These are these tents are like these big like teepee tents, not sleeping tents. As you
Can I
only
just do
see,
a quick point of order? Sorry to interrupt. I will break off a chunk of Inazaz's like mandible jaw, and I will hand it to someone staying by the cart.
okay.
Oh.
I'll take
Okay.
the mandible.
You take like a section of your mandible with like a couple teeth still there.
There's definitely a both satisfying and bone chilling like snap and like spunk as it's like pulled out of the socket
Reminds me of home.
because they're at joints.
You like
As we're like
record that?
walking, as we're walking off, like Sylvie's
It
just
does.
like, does that hurt when you do that?
Surprisingly, no.
Interesting. She's fairly neutral about it, but it's just sort of more like a curiosity.
It's still a what the fuck.
Yeah, I mean, someone ripped off their damn mandible and handed them like Bruce, like the fucking Hulk does in Avengers Endgame to Ant-Man. Oh, here's my teeth.
It's like a sandwich.
Walks by. Yeah. As you enter the tent, you see sitting in what seems to be a mixture of light armor, but also like common wear. Wearing a black hood, wearing a black hooded cape, is a young, not a young, probably about 30-year-old, blonde hair, nice goatee, blonde man, sitting there, human, of course, looking over a couple of files on him.
Good evening.
Good evening. I believe this is the first time we've met, Sylvie.
I don't believe I recognize you. Pleasure to make your acquaintance.
Pleasure to
Shall we
meet
get
you.
down to business?
Yes. I am Commander Aramis. I lead one of the platoons down in the army. I've been working for and with the Shroud for a long time, specifically for situations like this, where they need men to be in the front lines and not necessarily a stealth person. The situation is disconcerting. There is a lot of things in play that we need to find out. The most thing that we need to deal with is trying to locate who's in charge. We believe it's someone named Fannel, and due to your aid last time, we believe they are related to this Fifth Foundation, which, aside from the name, we don't really know much more about. And if that plan involves the Soul Forge, a bit of archaeotech that we had to seal up once the war with Uhaya-Hao had concluded. We believe they've been reopening it. There seems to be an insurgence of Warforge. though different varieties of which, some that can handle ranged combat, others that can handle melee. But locating the forge and stopping it is probably the priority here. If Fano gets away, then he gets away, but we need to remove this element from play. It'll be safer for everyone, and the army can intervene in a more peaceful manner than what General Belladonna wants to do. Battlemaster Belladonna wants to do.
Okay. Finding specifically Fennel, and you think that that will lead us to the Soul Forge?
I think that there is a chance. I think finding the Soul Forge is the priority.
Yes. I think that is definitely their number one weapon at the moment. Having that. Okay. It all seems fairly straightforward. Is there any other things that I should know? Any changes that have happened while I've been gone?
Not potentially, other than the Battlemaster getting itchy to go in there, but her respect of the Sovereign has put her to act cautiously at the moment. But if there is an opening, she might seize that opportunity and go there. As far as we know, I need to look up what we called them. Can't remember.
Sorry,
It's not in my notes.
Sorry, AJ. I kind of missed that name that you just said before. There's something about someone.
Battlemaster Belladonna.
Battlemaster Belladonna.
Christine and Sylvie would probably know this. Tara doesn't really care about politics, but Battlemaster Belladonna Markswood is the Battlemaster. They're in charge of training new recruits, handling wars like this when the Sovereign is not involved. They are on the council. They are a very high-ranking person in the army. In the American Empire, my bad. Sorry, I'm misspelling the name to give you, and I'm getting mad at myself for it.
Okay.
Other than that, there seem to be a variety of Soul Forge coming up from the waters around the city. They haven't engaged or anything. They seem to be sort of just gathering on the land at the moment. Very lifeless when they do so, but it is the main change we've seen from the city at this current stage.
Okay. Well, at least things haven't escalated too much. Sometimes these things are, you never know how it's going to go. It can go slow or it can go very fast.
That, and the Mithril Academy has chosen to not intervene in this situation. They will be refrained from getting involved at this time.
Very good.
We can aid you into the city. We have a couple of options. The probably most preferred one is we can send you in with your wagon with some more people bringing supplies into the city. These people will be people that we trust and know the situation, and they know that they will probably be captured and, in the worst case scenario, put to death. Regardless if you go with them or not, they have to go in to hand these supplies into the citizens. The other matter would take a bit longer, but we could circle you around to probably this northern area here, as he sort of pulls out the map, points to this little grove there, and send you in via boat, though that stealth will only come in via you. We'll not be able to give you men to handle that.
So extra time doing that way. Honestly, I agree with you. The wagon approach seems to be the best. We've already made efforts to make the wagon look a little bit more tradesy. Some of our more conspicuous members are well hidden. One hiding under some goods, the other fully armored.
It would probably be best if you all hid in the other wagons as opposed to bringing your own one in. We can have someone look after it while we are gone into the city, but ditching a caravan to hide is probably going to be a lot less easy if it's your own caravan.
Okay. I think that should be fine then. Well, I don't know about the rest of you, but I think that going in via the caravan would be the smartest route. We have taken long enough to get here. She looks to the rest of you who are there.
It's your call to make.
Well, if that's the case, I say we do it that way.
Well, they'll be leaving at Fort Dawn. Our men will handle the talking, and you should just do the hiding until you find an opportunity to get out of your wagon. Hopefully avoid drawing attention to your group.
I'll make it very clear to the two that are waiting with our stuff that we need to be extra cautious.
If a fight does happen to break out and you are spotted, put a focus on preserving yourselves and hiding more than getting out of that situation with blood on your hands.
Sorry, I don't know. I think you might have cut out a little bit there, AJ.
They're just saying,
Flee over fight.
So we fight.
Yeah.
Yeah, if a fight happens, we fight. Okay.
No, if a fight happens,
We flee.
Oh, okay. So that was what I
What's he
missed.
saying?
It was that's a
Yeah.
pretty important one.
Basically saying if things go badly and you fail to escape undetected, focus on getting away because you're inside an enemy, a hostile city that is occupied with an army. You're outnumbered, who knows how many to one.
I can provide you with this. It is not up to date, although these things rarely are. As he hands you a piece of paper with. Did I not add it? I feel like I did. Yeah, I did. It's just not labeled in a correct manner.
And thing.
As he sends you a map of the city.
Yeah, we got a map.
Indeed.
Awesome.
How far out are we from the city?
Couple hours.
Couple hours, yeah.
Couple hours. And the goal is
Yeah.
to go tomorrow.
Yeah.
Right.
You'd be
So we
leaving with a
could-
group and leaving tomorrow morning.
So we could potentially do some recon if it's not that far away.
If you wanted to, you could make it if you would leave now, you could get to the city tonight and back, but you'd have a hard time getting enough sleep. You wouldn't be able to get a full long rest in.
Even if I were to fly.
I mean,
At
if you were to
60
use
feet.
magic, to move
Magical means.
extra speed, then yeah, you'd probably make it there and back in time to also have a long rest.
Cool.
So long as there weren't complications.
I think I'll pose it to the group, but I think that might not be a bad idea. That way we don't get jumped by a mystery scenario when we can have reconned it. So I'll bring that up when we're back with the others.
Sorry, what was... I missed a little bit of that. I just got... some
Jeremy
news.
is asking if he can use either wild shape or fly to try and get a recon situation
Okay.
before he has a long rest to do.
Because they said that the map isn't necessarily up to date, so if we can
okay.
have extra information going in, we can be extra prepared.
They more mean
Okay.
this is what the map was a couple years ago. They don't really change
Yeah.
city maps
Oh yeah.
that proper.
Still, I think the recon
Yeah,
is not a bad idea.
No, I agree.
I think that is a very good idea.
We could have
Yeah.
team stealth and team fucking stay at home with the kids.
Okay.
I resent that, but it's so fitting.
Uh,
Team stealth. The kids are already in the wagon.
as he gets up, he looks to Sylvie. Sorry, music go away. I like keeping on now. He looks at you, Sylvie. He's like, talk with your group, but have an idea of what you want your reward to be for this at the end of it. Sort of like looks at the group proper that he's offering the reward to, knowing that so he's probably not going to get a reward for this. Because it's
I
her
get
job.
paid. I mean, my job. I'm on a paycheck. Yeah, she's just like nods, looks to the rest of them, and like, I'm assuming the getting up is kind of that whole like, all right, we're done here sort of thing.
Yeah, he seems to like wrap up any like papers that he brought and stuff.
Yep.
Puts his hood up and then makes his way out of the encampment.
It's like he goes to leave, she just like nods, and yeah, I guess we like wait just a moment or two, and then like the rest of us go, unless anyone else wanted to do anything there.
As you all head out, you see a group of people that were previously like chilling by the fire, talking. Notice you all leave, get back up and walk in.
Yep. Cool. Just head back towards the caravan.
Quick
guess.
question, Gracious DMs. The sea serpent scale mail that I now have access to, is that different from the serpent scale armor types?
I
Let me
believe
check.
not. I think it's just that you get movement
Swim
speed.
speed.
Yeah,
Only
swim
'cause
speed.
This one says +1 bonus to armor and swim speed. The other one says add full dex mod and isn't affected by disadvantage for stealth.
No,
So I
that,
don't
what,
know
what's on
if
the
they're two
what's on the
different
sea
ones.
serpent is what's there.
Okay, so I still have disadvantage on stealth.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
It's
Different
the,
kind of
it's bonus AC.
water armor.
Swimming.
I was just checking because they're both practically the same name.
Yeah. Easy. So yeah, you're heading back to the camp. To you guys as your little set up your spot. Are you going to be doing the scouting tonight?
Yes.
All right, then go ahead. Do you think?
I believe we should do some recon before we leave tomorrow, just in case there could be any other complications going into this enemy territory.
I'm assuming what you have in mind is more along the lines of druid magic flying through.
More or less, yes.
Well, that sounds pretty clever. Anyone else?
Anyone have anything they wish to add to this, or am I just going to go do it? Because I will just go do it, but
Are they back yet?
Yeah, this is back at the
this
or
is the
reconvene.
back at camp
I'm back at the
conversation.
ranch.
I can't turn into anything that flies at this current point. I'm working on that.
Well, I'll
I should
draw you
probably
a
take one other person with me.
Could I like walk into the city, but just with like another person's face to scout around, or would it be like not possible to get in?
It's the
You
time
don't.
factor to get there, I think, is what we're judging it by.
Yeah,
What?
if you were to walk to the city, like even just to the walls and then back, you wouldn't have enough time for a long rest.
But like, say if I like wild shaped into something fast and
Like a horse or something,
away
yeah.
over there, yeah, and then switch
Um,
back and.
Essentially,
You would
you don't
probably
know.
be able to make it, but yeah, you don't know the situation at the actual. You don't know how easy it would be to you don't know how easy it would be to get in or out.
Mushroom top. What can you turn into?
He pulls out a scroll of all the things he's seen and noted to be able to transform into. Shrug.
Could something you could turn into, like, say, an eagle, carry a small creature like a cat?
I can turn into a big eagle and carry you.
That
No,
wouldn't
I'm good.
do, I thought the whole idea was to stealth in.
Wait, no, I'm just thinking.
A big enough creature far enough up.
We've seen Terra transform before, yeah, into an animal.
Yes.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
first
Sorry,
time.
that's where this whole process was going. It's like, what if you both change and you fly one over with you, like a animal carrying its prey to a nest?
What do you mean?
There are many night hunting birds, many of which eat rats and small creatures.
Right.
If you, Mushroom Head, could become a bird, then you could carry that one, hot one.
I feel like we're complicating this more. So what I'm talking about is I will turn into a massive owl or hawk or whatever and take someone who can take mental notes and everything whilst I'm in that form. Because whilst I'm transformed that way, I'm not exactly as coherent as I currently am.
Let's see.
I got basic cardinal directions and some slight interpretation. That's probably it.
What kind of role would you need to do to like take the notes and like memorize like things? Would that be a perception or would that be something else?
We write down whilst you're writing. You're like on top.
Yeah.
Someone
Okay.
with the perception.
Me. I have a +10 to perception.
You also probably blend into the night better.
Yeah, kind of.
To be blunt, you do wear more edgy clothes.
I do.
Arthur's not exactly stealthy with white fur and a red outfit.
I mean, flying over. As long as we were high up enough, but then you might not be able to see as much stuff.
Mm-hmm. So you can
I was sort of
with darker
thinking more
colours.
along the lines of smaller flighted animal, but like you said, if you're less coherent, you might not be able to take notes. It's a shame we don't have anyone who can turn someone else into.
Are you talking about the spell polymorph rather than the wild shape?
Yes, I'm talking about the spell polymorph rather than the wild shape. I'm
Thank you
looking for
very
an
much.
eighth level druid.
I believe we were getting mixed up in that sort of minutia.
Oh, you're not that kind of.
I'm not an 8th level / moon druid. No. Hence
We do not
polymorph.
have flying yet.
You also saw him res a skeleton?
Yeah. Also skeletons. I don't know what part of that made you think, birds.
And fungus. Lots of fungus.
To be fair, Arthur doesn't spend much time around druids per se.
So,
Decent bit of time
Depending on the
there.
situation.
Okay, doesn't spend much time around transformed druids.
Depending on the situation, did we want to have someone in the city? Perhaps with a sending spell to give us information on more detailed notes from the ground.
I do not think that we should split up that much. I think a flyover, that's smart. Get us like a few key locations, get some kind of idea about what's going on, as brief as we can. Going in there on your own is very foolish for any of us. We've got a way in, we go that way.
Understood.
Just
I
going
personally-
through the list of what I can transform into in case there's something that just solves the problem.
I personally think the flyover is a good idea. I am willing to go with. I do have a fairly keen eye when it comes to details. But if anyone else would like to go, I'm not going to muscle in if someone would like to go for a flight.
I could potentially join you with something small, so in case something really bad happens, you've got another person there as backup.
I'd be splitting the group 3 for 3. It's not
Arthur
too bad.
doesn't think anyone will go for the card with that thing sitting up there.
Another quick question, DMs.
Mhm.
If you had to gauge a rough distance for this couple hours journey to the city, would there be a rough number?
Probably.
Preferably in
Maybe-
miles?
I need to convert. Probably maybe
Like
between
10
5
or
to
less
10
miles?
kilometers. So let's. I think it's less miles than kilometers. No, 1.6.
I don't know my metric. Is this
6.
for a magical effect?
You just say it's about half.
Okay,
Yeah.
so basically what I do
About
is,
like
if
5
I still
miles away.
leave my eerie token here, shit hits the fan. If I'm within 10 miles to send a 25-word message back here.
Yeah.
That'll work.
So 10 miles
say-
is almost 16 kilometers.
Yeah, so it's within that range, yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, I'll say 10.
How
I'll say it's
many-
10 miles away. Yeah. Yeah, the average, I think it says the average person can walk about 11 Ks in 2 hours, so be about 8 to 10 Ks away. So, yeah, who's gone? Other than Inazaz, clearly.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's going to be Inazaz Sylvie Terram.
Yeah, I vote to go.
I think so.
Sounds like a plan.
And if wanted, I can come along wild shaped into something small for extra backup.
That's not a bad idea. Like if you went as like a mouse or something like that,
Yeah.
and it's just another set of eyes.
Alright.
Alright.
So yeah, the three of you step out. Are you just like going to leave the camp area a bit and then set about changing and flying away?
Yes.
I
Yeah.
imagine so.
Easy enough. Then
Now,
no
someone
point in
to
making a
keep
stealth.
track of a 60-minute timer for me.
What are you transforming into?
A
Is it tap on the
giant
shoulder?
owl.
60 minutes, you said? Okay, cool. You got 1 hour. Good luck.
Yeah, it's a twice as fast as regular walking, so you can basically fly to the city in about an hour.
Awesome.
You load up, Sylvie climbs on your back, Terra, you're wild shaping into something small.
Yeah, I've just like wild shaped into like a little mouse or something like that.
Yep. Easy, you just tuck yourself in amongst all the feathers, and then as you take off and start flying towards the city. Getting up in the air, once you're a decent way into the sky, it takes about 5 or so minutes of climbing. You actually can start to see the city in the distance. The walls and whatnot are harder to spot because it's dark, but you can see the occasional bit of light coming from whatever's happening in the city. And so you know which way to fly. There's no way you're getting lost. You fly. Most of an hour passes for you guys to get close enough to discern clear details. Upon reaching it, you can see the very clear wall. It's a large, about, I think, roughly 20-30 feet high, around most of the city. In the bottom right, where that the map you can see is a large castle, which sits close to the southern wall. But yeah, are you going to land and recast and then take off again, or what are you going to do for this situation?
Recast? Bro, there's no recasting here.
Oh,
There is.
What?
We're gonna have to hoof it back.
walk back. Okay.
Oh,
So for
jeez.
the- so-
I can better make the
right.
suggestion then of maybe we get a decent bit of the distance that I can wild shape into a horse, and then you guys can ride me, and I can run us a decent bit of the way there, and then we can wild shape into the owl, so you've got more timer.
Yeah, that's probably not a terrible idea.
Yeah, we can say you did that, just for convenience sake. We'll say that it's basically you ride about half the way there, and
Yeah.
then wild shape. So you've basically only spent about 30 minutes in the air before you're properly at Samaria.
Do a couple loops just to take in the surroundings, anything of
Yeah.
note.
All right, several. It's up to Sylvie's perception checks then.
Alrighty. I will roll.
I don't know if
Check
I
as well.
can provide the help action. I do have my own advantage on perception checks.
Yeah,
besides
if
healing.
you all want to
So-
make perception checks, go ahead. Anyone involved, because you're all looking at the city. It's just that two of you can't convey that information until you're not
Oh,
animals.
nice.
Perception
any-
is +5.
And if there's any particular bit of information you guys want to focus on for your roles as well, let us know like what you're looking for specifically.
Before we took off, I would have asked Sylvie like if there was anything particularly we were looking for, and whatever she says, I would be particularly looking out for that kind of stuff.
I feel like I would probably say anything where there's like, it seems like Warforged activity, like if there's like, you know, like any mechs, I guess like Warforged mechs like around, or like anything that looks like it's been newly built, like or newly sort of set up.
Okay.
So this is occupied by Warforge or by another occupying force that does also have Warforge?
From what you guys know, it is occupied by a group who consider themselves to be, you know, freedom fighters / they're reclaiming Sonaris.
The Shroud
but
the Shroud think it's the Fifth Foundation.
But they have activated some Warforged which were in the area to assist in this process.
Okay, I'm looking for hospitals or like places to get soldiers patched up, any sort of repair place, whether it be for equipment or anything like that.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, I feel like anything that's got like commotion. I mean, it's kind of late at night, so probably not much. But like anything that's sort of got, you know, emotional movement. Really.
Areas that maybe look a little overguarded compared to other places.
Yeah.
With your numbers, just as general, I'll do some things and then Darian can go into a bit more detail. As you're flying over, in general, this large western part of the section that's connected to the bay seems to be a mixture of both docklands, merchants, and trades. Like a very large part of this city is that type of facility for storage, tradesmen, and like smiths and stuff, as well as like merchants of like not food or anything, but like material. To the north seems to be a lot of your residency. A lot of people have their houses there. And as you get close towards the castle, there seems to be a little more bougie area, nothing too much. For the question on Warforged, as you're looking around, there are a lot. There are more Warforged out about in the middle of the night, what seems like patrolling, than there are people.
Oh,
Like,
jeez.
for every one person you see, you probably see about 10 Warforged. The
Jesus
wall is manned almost entirely by unmoving statues. They're only human sized, but you can assume they're Warforged. You see, it's hard to get a clear vision, like staying high up enough that you're probably not getting seen. You can't go low down to see what it's like in the actual streets themselves. But yeah, for like every one actual person-looking soldier, you see a lot of robotic soldiers.
That's not good.
One particular thing that draws your attention, Tara, though, is what's outside of the city. And coming up to the northern side of the beaches, and actually far as well to the east, which you can barely spot this, but you do see a few figures that draw your attention. There is a very large gathering of figures on the beaches to the north of the city and a bit to the south, but less so. Some of these figures are a lot larger than normal humanoids, and they're all standing completely motionless just on the beaches.
Sort of heads and arms like hanging, sort of not flowing with the wind, but just like very still, almost statuesque.
And by large, I mean like, at a glance, you wouldn't be able to count how many figures there are on these beaches. With the time you have there flying around, you see like, after like a while of nothing happening, a dozen or so figures just walk out of the ocean and join the pack, and then just stop moving.
Yikes.
Inazaz, as you're sort of looking for these places of repair and hospital, you probably can't tell what buildings are what from the top without having a look at signage. There are a couple large buildings that you could assume have that function, but you need to be on ground level to see. Though a lot of activity seems to be directed sort of in this area, probably around here. There seems to be an influx of both men and warforged. And there is smoke coming from the top, so you can tell this is some sort of ongoing mechanism area.
And Sylvia, you're looking for areas where a lot of guards and people. One thing you actually notice is, I believe, a bit north, actually outside of the walls. Not as far as like up on the beaches, but like there are structures there. A very large gathering of what look like very rudimentary dwellings. Lots of warforged, lots of soldiers, but very basic, like minimal style housing that's clearly not a old construction, like something probably built new. And one main feature of Sumeria, and the main feature that's used to build a lot of warforged, is mithril. And to the north of the city of Sumeria is a mithril mine. And you can see as it gets closer to that area, that like kind of semi-shanty-esque town is getting more like denser and denser, and the guards in that area are relatively packed. Like there's a lot of people protecting this area.
Not all the houses are these like sort of new ones. There are some things that have probably been established from before, but there seems to be an uptick.
Okay, so that's north outside of the city?
Yeah, probably from where the camp is outside of Sumeria for like the main army, that distance away is probably like this mine to the north.
Like about an hour to the north of the city.
And yeah, it's like building around the mithril mine.
Yes.
That makes sense. That's, yep, okay. I'll note that.
And a feature you can all see from this distance as well is what looks like to be roughly a day or so's travel to the even further east of Sumeria is a very large tower, just sticking straight up out of the landscape. It's too dark to really know what color or anything it is, but it's just a while away from the city. It's just a single solitary tower.
That wasn't there before?
Oh, it was. You and people who would know the Terra and Inazaz probably don't know because they're not from this area, but Sylvia, you would know that's the Mithril Academy.
Okay, and they're not getting involved, alright. So they've, if I remember correctly, like, they shut their doors, or,
Yeah, they I think you got a report a while ago about it, but when shit went down, they just closed their doors and were like, nope, you're sorted out yourself, we'll deal with whoever wins.
Okay, alright. That's fine. I already know what that is, so she'd sort of just see it and be like, yep, okay. At least that, it's still intact and doesn't seem to be, like, affected in any way.
Yep.
Okay.
So yeah.
As this information is probably coming in, like, numerous amounts of, like, sweeping around, probably maybe 10 or so minutes of just circling the city from this high enough distance that you're hidden. As you sort of feel like the time to leave is now.
He'll start leaving then.
Just because like your internal timer of this spell is gonna fade, goes off. And are you doing the same thing on the return trip? Just finding a place to land, sort of in the middle of nowhere?
Yeah, and then we'll horse back.
Yeah.
I think that would make the most sense, because I mean you wouldn't be able to get back in time, I imagine.
Can you make me another perception check in Azaz?
I can do. Still as Burb?
Yep, still as bird. This is as you're flying back. Yep, with the 17, as you're flying back, one thing you notice, because you're specifically looking for a place to land, there is a rather large bit of land between the camp and the city that no one is really on. And you kind of spot why as you're flying away. You, not seeing it on the way here, but now spotting it here, there is a group of probably several dozen soldiers of some kind, assuming Warforged, moving through this field with like no light source, no anything, just like traveling around. And spotting it, you can see that this is like probably a type of like skirmishing band. And so like while there is no direct battle that's happened, you can see this middle area is not a safe place to be. Like there's probably been several like smaller clashes between groups. And with that, so you're like coming down, you spot one of these, you have to like veer off to a different place to land to make sure you avoid them.
And it seems like that they're like obviously they're coming of direction from Sumeria.
Yeah, it's like they're it's almost like a patrol, like they're not coming directly from the city. They came from somewhere probably even further east to the south, but it's like they veering around on a curve and like looping back towards the city, and then they're probably
Oh, okay. Yep.
yeah.
I was wondering if there were a force that was pushing out from Samaria to maybe encroach on the side that we're on.
Yeah,
that
no.
we're fighting for, is what I mean.
Yeah. But no, it doesn't look like this is like a major force. It's probably more like a searching for scouts from the other army to deal with before, while just looking for stragglers to fight small engagements with.
Not that any of you would know, but typically in a situation like this, even though there's no proper fighting, there's gonna be like minor raids on camps.
Yeah.
That in areas that people want to claim.
Yeah, probably at least dozens of skirmishes would happen before a proper battle happens. But yeah, with that, you spot a good space to land away from one of these groups. You can easily wild shape back into a horse of some kind, and then head back towards the camp you all came from.
Just a question for Dizash, just because I want to know. Do you thematically turn into like rotting or like skeletal versions of things?
Of course. Sorry, I should have said this.
No,
earlier.
I'm just making sure.
So, typical giant owl appearance, except instead of it being like a usual white speckled one, the white speckles are like a dull purple, and instead of being brown, it's more of a dark and sickly black, and the undercoating of the white like belly area and face is more of like a rust red color, and there are all sorts of like mushroom protrusions, like flat caps that are sticking out all over the body.
Yeah.
Important questions.
It is an important question.
Very easy.
So we'll eventually arrive back in camp. You find a spot to turn out of horses into people, and make your way back into the encampment where Christine and the boys have been waiting.
Well, that was interesting.
What did you find out?
Well, looks like they've been doing a lot of work on the place. I specifically noticed there's a decent amount of activity in the north, sort of, I guess, one block off the wall. Seems to be a lot of smoke coming out of buildings, a lot of activity, a lot of guards activity. I'm trying to remember what else, because I wrote down everything, but I'm trying to specifically the stuff that I saw.
TLDR.
We saw a lot of shit.
There's robots coming out of the water and standing around the water. There's robots that are going around picking people off, or some kind of ilk of that nature. There's one particular block in the city that's constantly producing smoke and seems to have more occupancy than most other places of note.
There's more Warforged than people.
All the walls are manned by countless Warforged. There's sort of it's like that castle area exists. I think that's more or less it.
The Warforged bit concerns me the most. I mean, also the fact that they're clearly setting up a pretty hard-scale mithril mining program, which you said I knew that that's what they made Warforged from, yeah?
It was part of the for history's sake, most people would know, but the reason Samara could produce them, aside from the Soulforge itself, is that part of the bodies of Warforged are made with mithril.
It's also the main export of the city. One of the major things is mithril. It's got very good properties in connecting with magic, so it's used a lot in magical items that require enchanting, and overall it's light, so mithril armor and tools are generally it's just a big export for the city. It's one of the best things.
So back before, I know that there was no new Warforged yet, but the fact that they're doing hardcore mining still, and there are so many Warforged, is concerning me for the fact that maybe they've figured out how to do it again.
Do Warforge rust?
Mithril doesn't rust.
Considering they were all just looking at the ocean, they seem to be totally fine, probably not.
Coming out of the ocean.
Also, like, because I know that was a thing that happened like ages ago. Was that how long ago did that happen with the
That
Warforged?
war ended, I think, about 80 years ago.
Alright.
Oh no, less, way less. I think. Let me get the timeline.
Sorry.
In the year 885, the war between Sinaris and Uhaya House
So, yeah.
started.
It's just
20
like under
years.
10 years ago, the war ended. So that was sealed up about then.
Oh, those guys have probably been slowly walking the bottom of the ocean for over a decade at this point.
That's terrifying.
There'll be some very angry Warforged that have
But-
a cause, I guess.
Who would be leading a Warforged army? Another Warforged? Or
People that-
someone not Warforged?
I mean, it seems like they're all working under this person called Fennel. And if these people are basically saying, I mean, all they have to say is that they don't have to be illegal and, you know, owned by people anymore, and I imagine that most of the Warforged would side with them.
But they
Considering,
are sentient, are they not?
yes, and at the moment, you're not allowed to. If you're a Warforged, then you have to be owned. You can't be free. So, they probably have fairly good reason. Well,
Good reason, yes, but I don't
it's not
imagine.
good.
I don't imagine all creatures of sentience would be willing to go this far.
Freedom. I know.
Well, no matter the issue, it's not looking good, but we did get a lot of information. And I will update this map accordingly. She just like sort of writes on it a little bit, like with like key locations, sort of like gets information from both Terra and Inazaz, like crosses little areas out, being like, you know, something going on here.
Nothing like structural in the city has changed. It's just these are the areas that they're sort of deal. Like
Yeah.
Nothing's changed in the last couple of years in terms of like structures within the city.
It's more like, you know, put a circle on this part out,
Yeah.
like north of the city, being like, this is
Here's a sticky note. This is what this.
something's going here. Basically, like this little area where I saw like the smoke and everything, just being like, yep, something's going on here. And like the beach where the Warforged seem to be coming out and whatever.
Yep.
But yeah. Well, that was I would say, a very useful trip that we just went on. And now I think we should get as much rest as we possibly can.
Glad to have been of service.
I appreciate it.
Good. As the party sets up to take a rest, I think we'll put the bio brick out now.
Sounds good. Alright.
Unfortunately, I'm not playing a character that would know much about this place.
I used to.
Yeah.
Why don't you ring him up?
I mean, maybe I know about a church here.
I can't do that.
I don't know. Did I ever come to a church this way?
This church is everywhere, so probably.
Oh, maybe this is one of the ones I burnt down.
It's a major city. I
Yeah.
think they have a list of your churches you burnt down. I'm not sure if you
I don't know
flying this far.
if you ever gave me an exact list of where they were. I just know that you had an idea of where they may have been. I mean, some were definitely near the fiefdom.
I think in your session 0, he was just like, here's the things you've done. And that was the limit of
Like, I don't think that your little reign of semi-terror expanded this far out.
No, I didn't. It's just like, where did I get to?
It was mainly central. It was like the fiefdom and then central Amaris.
Hmm.
Like I mentioned, like smaller, like you never attacked like a church in the middle of a city.
Yeah,
No,
you
no,
did.
no, never
You
went that
did every other major city in the Empire except the Cenarians. You
convenient.
never went this far east.
We'd always gone for like outskirting stuff, never like the ones in the center of the city.
You know what? We're gonna nuke the city.
Nuke the city.
How else do you take out Warforged?
There
Blow
are
'em up.
innocent people here. I don't really care.
Get them out? Wouldn't be the first
Burn
time
the
we've
city
destroyed
down.
a city.
Do a what was Darian's character that burned the city down? Balthazar.
Yep.
Yeah, there
The
you
people
go.
wouldn't flee and they were gonna die, so I burnt the city down to make them leave their homes.
Technically worked.
It did.
You burnt it down to save their homes.
Well, I burnt it to save their lives.
Yeah, that's fair.
The homes were gone either way.
Oh, it's so freaking cold here.
I know all of these
Yeah.
campaigns always has
Replaceable.
nothing to do with
People
fun.
aren't always replaceable.
I mean, fair.
Buildings are forever though.
Also, my timer still has 35 minutes on it.
Cool.
Unfortunate.
I just saw that do Warforged stream of Arcane Sheep. Very clever. Very clever.
I've got so many questions about fucking Warforged, but I'm like, no, I can't ask these. That would be very out of character.
It's okay, I mean, you've written a lot about the Warforged, so I can't look forward to when you can eventually ask these.
No, I'm trying to think of the ones I can ask. That's the problem.
That's the problem with having to be in character. It's like,
Don't
fuck, what do I
worry,
know?
you're not alone. Tara's too dumb to understand what a Warforged even is.
It is kind of fun playing a character that's sort of in the know a little bit more because Selena knew a little bit of stuff, but like,
No, it's okay.
No,
Just to
gotcha.
simplify, what is publicly known about Warforged outside of their metal things with the soul?
So the most common things is, as everyone we said before, they are very outlawed. The creation of them is banned. No one is allowed to make them anymore. Not that most people even know how to make them.
But is it known where they were first created, or at least the ones
It's
that were a problem
believed-
with?
Yeah, so it's believed that Cimmeria was the home of where the Warforged are. There's something here, some old piece of technology that was called the Soulforge, and it was instrumental in the creation of Warforged.
But
Ever
that's
since the
really
war,
like
it was
Bruce
sealed up
mentioned,
and
like,
locked
the
away.
years
Gives me like Dragon Age Golems vibes, the anvil.
There is a
Yeah.
whole thing where there are two different kinds of Warforged, which is there are ones considered called artificial souls, which are no one really understands how that works. It has something to do with the Soulforge, making whatever this life force is that powers them. And then there are ones that are infused souls, which is someone who's dead and then they're basically put into the body of, like somehow transferred into the body of a Warforged. Like people know that was a thing. No one knows how the fuck they did it.
I gotta be honest, you could almost argue that's just giving them a second life.
It is 100% reminds me so much of Dragon Age Origins.
Oh, yeah.
Like, freaking.
The artificial
Who was
ones are like the
the Urban
demons they
idiot?
initially try to put in them.
Who was the golem that you
Warforged.
get that's like fucking hilarious? What was her name again? Oh, I can't remember.
Okay, this is a stupid question, but if someone was going to die of cancer in D&D, could they be put into a Warforged to preserve their life?
If someone was to die in general and you knew how to do it, like
Just
the
theoretically,
cases from the
would that
war, it was like,
technically stop that cancer
well,
killing.
well, they'd be a metal body that's immune to disease. So yes, they would no longer have cancer as they are now in a different body itself.
Wouldn't have arthritis either.
But
fuck,
both
it's the
kinds of
Warforged.
Warforged are banned, and they're not considered free. Like they're not considered sentient. By the Accords, they essentially are property, and if they're not owned, they are either be deactivated or decommissioned. Decommissioned is literally destroying them. Deactivation is something some of you saw actually in Illowell, which is they basically go into like a semi like stasis state where they're just they look like just statues.
But by the sounds of it, Mithril's hard to work with.
Were you thinking of Ogren, Tess?
Ogren, that's right.
Yeah.
Not Ogren. Hang on, Ogren was the dwarf, wasn't it?
Yeah, Ogren's a dwarf.
No, I'm thinking of the golem that's like.
Oh,
Actually,
Shale.
the-
Shale.
Yeah, Shale, that's it.
I love Shale.
Shale was my favorite character.
Out of character then, is there any public knowledge on Mithril?
Oh yeah, like people knew about mithril. Even after the Warforged stopped, like Samaria still exported mithril. It was used in making, like, it's expensive metal to work with, but it's used in a lot of arcane stuff. Common knowledge of the world is, if you want metal that is good with magic, use mithril. There is literally a place called the Mithril Academy. They use a lot of it. In fact, it was mentioned, I think, once a long time ago. The Mithril Academy specializes in training, essentially, battle mages, like mages who are good at fighting, and a lot of them wield mithril weapons and armor.
Interesting.
But one of the biggest importers of mithril is, unsurprisingly, Ghislaine. Given its natural affinity with magic, mithril in very small amounts is used in some of the more complicated file tech stuff.
I'm back.
That makes sense. Welcome back.
I have a question, but it would be something that would have been asked before the thing, I think.
Okay, you can ask a question still.
So,
Or do you want to
when
wait
I
till
was-
everyone's back?
No, it's more of like when I was asking, you know, if Mithril would rust. Sorry, if the Warforged would have rusted. The question probably should have been more directed, like, how much of them is Mithril? Did they have any rust on parts that weren't fully Mithril?
Maybe too far away to get clear details on that.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, like
That
getting
would
close
be
enough to
the
see that
answer I would have
details.
expected, but
Like I
you
assumed they
understand
were
my
staying
line of
high
thought
enough.
here, right?
Yeah, yeah. Like I assumed they were staying high enough in the air where they're not risking being spotted.
Absolutely.
By anyone on the wall. So it's like you could basically see details on the walls, and then mostly going off lights in the city.
Okay.
Like
well,
you
I
couldn't
might-
really get details in the streets themselves
that
because you would be too far
question-
away.
That question may come back up when we get if we see one up close.
Yeah.
Because I genuinely, like, I don't imagine, like, even if Mithril was a common resource here, I don't imagine these Warforged were 100% Mithril. Not all of them. That would be a lot unless they have some way to get that much.
It'd be less that they'd be made out of mithril, but the more that they're like partially magical.
There's still so many questions I have there that don't line up.
Well, maybe you'll learn more soon.
Can magic rust?
We discussed this.
The answer is yes.
Anything without care will rust or like break. It's just that with magic, you don't need to care as much.
It's just because I got curious, so I looked up, okay, how fast let's just say a steel alloy, you know, one of the most common things worked with, or most commonly mixed with other metals to, you know, make up the volume, the mass, etc. Typically, if it was fully submerged because of salt and, you know, salty water, which I assume is what the ocean is, it would rust within hours. So, say you chuck on mithril magic, if this has been about 10 years, they should be fucking rusted. That's where my head's at.
Who knows?
But again, you tell me, like, who knows, like, some metals rust slower than others, and also a case of
I probably shouldn't be
magic.
applying real world logic to this. It's
No,
just
like
that's-
there is some degree of truth. Like, yeah, like if they have weapons that are not made of mithril, they're probably rusted to nothingness. Like a sword, a regular old like iron steel sword, is going to be borderline, like, will be basically useless after 10 years of being submerged in the ocean.
Rust is a reaction, but you can still get rid of rust and renew a weapon.
To a degree.
It will have a lot less mass on it. But
Well, rust is only the reaction between oxidizing iron. If there's no iron in it, it won't rust.
But also, iron is the most common metal for this use.
Yeah.
We're out of the Bronze Age.
yeah, it's trying to think like the time period we're in as well. That's the other part of it. It's because I don't
But
think
imagine-
you're sticking with copper anymore. Like we have swords, and I assume most of the swords made of iron.
I'd say imagine setting up a D&D campaign in like in a Copper Age or the Bronze Age, where it's like, yeah, metal sucks to work with because tin and copper are fucking hard to find, and no one understands what this brown rock is used for.
Because like yeah, no, like you would argue in this particular campaign, most swords you would see would be made out of some sort of alloy, like an iron alloy or steel, even. Right.
I don't think it's unreasonable.
Yeah, it's not unreasonable.
So, yeah, that's where my brain's at. It's like, okay, I assume 10 years ago they probably still had long swords that were at least base iron.
Oh, definitely. Well, Base iron, who knows?
What has happened in the past 10 years?
That's a hard thing because like file tech has been around for probably more than 10 years.
We were talking about it because someone was asking about
Has
gunpowder
anyone ever
recently.
asked you if files can rust?
Well, it's mainly glass, just magically treated glass.
It's glass and like copper, so I mean it'll turn green.
It's a
But,
weird.
And I mean,
Yeah.
I have also asked about powder as well.
but yeah, someone recently talked about it, and we had to remind them. It's just like, yeah, like the loudest amount of gunpowder at the moment is stuff that's like been refined for cannon use, and that's about it. Because much like what happened in My Hero, something huge happened, and it sort of readjusted the way of progression. Like My Hero set like 100 years in the future, and I don't think they've gone to space yet.
No.
Because of the emergence
And
of
yet they
quirks.
have. Well, I think they have people that have gone to space, but I don't think they have like space travel.
I think
yet.
they straight up stated they haven't gone to space.
And what the fuck's the point of the one with the black hole as in spacesuit?
Because it
I mean,
looks
it
cool.
looks cool. Yeah, come on.
But yeah, like because files have been around, and like the main thing is harnessing these elemental resources. There's been a lot of change. Like
That's
yeah,
a lot of
gunpowder
question.
hasn't been huge because of that.
See,
Yeah.
that's a whole other question. With file tech being a big thing in your world, the whole harnessing of elements, okay, what havoc have these elements played on reactions with other metals? Ores, minerals? Has anyone figured out how to make a nuke out of files yet?
Well, I mean, you've seen Gipchu.
It's a good show.
Yeah, there was also that one place we were in, was that Telmarus? With the gear house?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember some dumbass and they tried to blow up a wall.
Wasn't that you?
Who knows?
Remember you set your hand on fire?
It was
So
worth
that
it.
gift you spell again?
Okay, here we go. Let's get the world mega notes up.
I believe it's like
Pikachu.
Pikachu with a G.
The full name, Gipchu Palcrop Palapop.
Emphasis
Oh,
on
okay.
the pop. Because that city went.
Who's not here?
Ipchu Calacropala.
I'm back.
Gipshu
Can't do the pop at the end, damn it.
Haven't heard of him.
Gipshu Pal Crop Palapop.
Yep.
I can read it
Gipshu
too well
Palapop.
if I'm looking at it.
Yeah,
And
it's,
then I
it's pretty
forget
easy
when
to
I look
say.
away.
But yeah, Gipchu is gone because when they were losing the war, and they knew there was not exactly they were in a kind of a no survivors situation going on. They blew their own city up to try and kill their enemies with themselves by setting off their entire file storage in the city, and it didn't completely work. Most of the city was basically flattened. Parts of the city, as you remember, are just kind of floating in the air for no reason. The magic there is not okay. Yeah.
There's another metal and thing. Has stuff like meteorite and them been utilized in this world?
I mean,
Space still.
listen, the space is a whole different question. There's like a dozen stars in the sky at night. So
Who knows?
That's
if
a whole-
there's- Who knows if there's
volcanic ores?
asteroids?
Yeah, I
Obsidian
mean,
even?
stars and meteors are very, very different space objects that Darian.
stars aren't stars in this world. Stars are celestials, and most of them aren't even there.
When I'm referring to like star metal, I mean more like meteorite or
But that's what we're saying. Who knows? Like,
Yeah.
who knows if there's been much activity in space?
do you have volcanoes in this world?
Yeah, it's a volcano.
Are we going by the logic where if you like mithril's mithril, if you forge mithril you get mithril, but if you keep forging it under a certain amount of heat you get adamantine?
No.
No, you mean you went to an area?
Have we seen a volcano?
Don't?
No.
I'm trying to think where there'd be one. I assume the Stone Pillar Highlands potentially, but
There's some volcanoes they're mostly dormant in the highlands because it's a giant mountain range. There's also a couple of the islands in the Concordant are volcanic islands.
so
they just-
theoretically, obsidian weapons could have existed.
Yeah,
Yeah, but they'd be
probably.
real
It's Obsidian's
shit.
brittle. Yeah.
I'm not saying they'd be good. I'm just saying they could have existed. A
The
alloy.
thing is with D&D, any thing can
Yeah.
exist.
Like you could theoretically have an alloy that's mixed between volcanic rock and fucking. Then again, you could have magic crystals. So
Yeah. All right, is everyone back? We're missing one
Yeah,
tick.
Is that Tick Terra or is that Tick Jeremy?
No, I ticked.
It's
I assume it's
you know,
Terra. Okay.
I'll stop
She
nerding
gets
out and
just-
trying to figure out the semantics of your.
Oh,
word.
it's probably because
No, it's
Yeah.
it's K.
yeah, I was
No.
gonna say this.
2, 3, 4,
Oh, unless
5.
it's like.
No, there's 7 of us
Or
here.
it's the GM.
Oh right, because
Darian
Darian
ticked. I think it's Mim because she said she was
It's
going in
probably-
and out. And
Yeah.
if she's doing that, we might as well continue instead of wait however long that'll
Okay.
take. Sadly.
We could just talk about rocks.
Platinum.
I mean, a lot of the question is going to be like, is this going to happen? And we'll be like, wait and see.
No, not worried about that. No, up there. Well, I mean, yes, but that's. I understand you're not going to give me direct answers on that stuff.
Listen, when you're making a D&D world, there's a level of world building where you just sit back and you go, you know what? I don't need to be this detailed.
Yeah, like the concept of like, is the meteorites never crossed our mind?
But the fact that I can chuck these questions at you means you can come up with them on the spot. So,
Yeah, exactly.
If we
And I
write
have
it
to think
down,
carefully through.
if we write it down, that's another question.
have we got platinum? Yeah, we have. We have platinum pieces. Are they made of platinum?
I mean, there's no guarantee your gold pieces are made of gold.
Yeah,
You know
no,
what
that's
would
another.
be cool?
What?
You said that the stars are celestials, yeah?
Yeah.
So then, like, the meteorites could be either chunks of them or their weapons that are falling to this plane from the battles that I assume they're losing, and that's why they're going out. That would be cool.
I mean, it's kind of
Wait,
a.
no.
It's. Who
They
knows?
just
'Cause, like, there's a lot of it that's like. I think very briefly people discovered a map of what the sky is meant to look like, and it is very different to what it actually looks like. Some of the party met a celestial of the stars who's just chilling in a forest,
What?
kind of not doing his job of being a star.
I don't think we met any of them.
The stag in the Great Forest.
No.
Okay. You didn't meet them.
Oh, he didn't. Yeah, he didn't meet them. Nor did Sylvie.
I didn't meet him either.
Yeah, you were.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
maybe it was-
the only person who met them?
I was dead.
Christy.
Oh, wow,
Christine
yeah,
is
the one
only
person.
who met them.
Everyone else is different.
No, or was that Anaxara at the time?
It
Yeah.
was Alexara.
Oh.
You
It was the
switched-
tail end of
Annex-
Anaxara.
Annex switched out when he went back to Dwarfland again.
Hmm. I assume you have platinum armor somewhere in the world.
I mean, there's platinum scale armor, probably.
Someone's probably made platinum.
That's
Good
just
luck.
expensive to work
Honestly,
with.
I'm like amazed at that, considering it's difficult to melt.
Well, I'm more mean, like, that's the whole point. Like, why would you make armor out of platinum if it's so much more expensive? Like,
the only one who'd
make
know it would be
buy armor made of steel.
It
People
was
would
made
just
by
want it.
someone who has a severe aversion to heat metal.
mean,
you can't
it's
heat
the
metal.
work.
My melting point is so high. It's oh god, it still burns.
Yes, I'm aware of the logic there.
Yeah, that's kind of the plan to go in if when we inevitably end up facing against some of these metal boys.
Oh god, now I have a stupid question. Can shape metal? What does it affect? I gotta look this
You
up
can't
now.
living creatures.
No. But can it affect platinum?
I mean, why wouldn't it?
It's a metal.
It's a metal.
Alright.
Oh, shit.
We're spiraling.
I just realized, like, a wizard with shaped metal could make a killing over time on fucking platinum swords and that.
Again, why would you waste money on that versus buying a steel? It doesn't matter. Okay, D&D.
You all,
Thanks.
you all have a long rest and wake up on the 21st of Senate.
A Senate.
I really like your, what's it called, music?
Do it.
Shovel Knight, but you're way too loud for right now. You're way too loud all the time, I apologize, but I need you to be quiet. Yeah, you all wake up on the 21st of Senate, the second sun. Pretty bright and early. You see, as you all get up, you see that a numerous number of people have, are like waiting outside your tent. You see, to where you're supposed to be go as you're directed. You see what looks like probably 4 or 5 wagoneers and their crew are all handing pieces of paper to another couple people that seem to be just talking to them. As you all get up, the people outside your tent sort of go in and re-establish your thing as something to not notice.
Do they have to move the cat mimic?
Are you getting out to go follow your friends?
I don't know. They never told me if I should.
Oh.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know we took away your agency as a player.
we are leaving the caravan behind.
Okay.
So
That part I missed.
if you
I
would
thought it was
like,
part of the
you
TLDR.
can cover yourself in furs, but
Nah, it's all good. I'll put on my hood.
it's fairly early. I'm sure it'll be fine.
Hood it is.
So like make a point with like when the group sort of gathered to just be like, alright, I've been told that the best choice of action is for us to all lay low, just stay in the carts, and if things do happen to escalate, any fighting, we just get out. No fighting back, just
Run.
run. We all in an agreement on that one? Because otherwise we'll probably get killed.
I
Words
don't see reason.
expelled.
Sorry.
Just so
Okay, what was I missed that.
I didn't say anything. Don't know what we're talking about.
Wouldn't want to forge a wall while we're going.
Disadvantage.
Okay.
Right then.
As you all
Yeah.
gather in, do you all want to be in one wagon, or do you all want to spread out amongst a couple of them? What do you think your plan will be?
I
Yeah, basically-
feel like splitting up is probably better, but I don't know why.
Less conspicuous if we're not all together.
I agree. I think that having us all in one cart, if they do check the carts, having 6 people in the cart would be... Also, I don't think we're all going to fit in one.
It's also easier to hide a figure if you're not next to another figure that's also wanted.
That's fair.
Like, if I was with this one, points to Hothead, I think people would realize that these two wouldn't normally be traveling together.
Yeah, approaching the area where like you're told to meet up before, you see there are about 4 wagons there, like covered wagons. A whole bunch of people waiting around there, clearly for you guys to arrive. And yeah, you can pick a little which ones you want to hide in. The people, when they see you, they quickly do like check over, like they're very clearly waiting for you, and without a word, they start like loading themselves up onto the wagons, getting ready to leave.
Yeah, a
Just
couple
waiting
of
for you all
people.
to decide. Yeah.
Yeah, a couple of people are
Wait.
like waiting on the outsides, like finding who's going in there and then positioning boxes and stuff for you to nestle in and hide.
Oh, not this hiding in a box again.
Well, not in a
Um,
box, but like around.
Yeah.
Time to get comfy. Stretches.
Alright, I say we split into groups of 3. Who shall I travel with? Who wants to travel with me?
Sure.
Which means
Yeah.
Christine would obviously join you as well.
It'll
I
be
mean,
2
maybe
groups of
she-
3 or a 3 and 4.
Oh, right. Is it? Hang on, this. 1,
There's 6
2,
of you.
3. Yeah, I was gonna say there's 6 of us.
The 6 of us?
You'd
Because I
set
was
like
gonna.
Arc for Christine and Sylvia in one, and Inez as Terra and Xavier on the other.
I thought Christine would be all like, no, because she don't want to seem too keen. It's the
I mean-
whole Christine thing.
Yeah, but she's not here to defend herself, so we can just force her to.
We can just say that Aqua dragged him.
Yeah.
I said I'd keep this one safe.
Maybe she's still angry with Xavier. That would make actual sense.
I will use the thing,
The thing? Which thing?
my eerie token. I give a piece of mandible to.
Think about it.
Let's say Sylvie, seeing as this is her operation.
You'd be worried I'd eat it.
Yeah, have a chunk of mandible.
It's just like, thank you.
What do you think?
In case something goes wrong in our cart, I can at least let you know.
Works kind of like ascending then.
You'll see.
Alright then. I'll keep it handy.
As you all board the wagons shortly after you all feel them move. And about the same amount of time as it took to fly there, about an hour or so later, the wagons start to slow down as they come to a stop eventually, and you all hear a bunch of talking. You hear just one guy from decently far away, depending on which wagon you guys are in, and just like, "So, what'd you bring this time?" You hear a caravanner is like, "Just more supplies, food, hide, things for the people." Alright then. You hear as the mechanisms of a large gate opening and closing behind it go forth, and footsteps, sounds of metal being crushing small stones as several groups of people have walked to each caravan. We'll have everyone roll a stealth check.
Easy peasy.
So we are stealthing in these. I was gonna ask before. We're not just like supposed to be here.
Yes.
We're actually
You're
hiding
stealthing.
among cargo. If that's the case,
Did
I
you
would
wanna
like
cast?
to drop. Yeah, I'll cast a pass without a trace.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. So the people in your cart would gain the +10. So it'd be you, Terra, and Xavier gain the additional +10.
Yeah, it's 30 feet. I don't know if that also covers the other cart. I don't know how close we are.
No,
We'll
let's,
just
let's
do-
just say
For
out of range
simplicity's
for now.
sake, we'll just do the
Okay,
three of
cool,
you.
cool, cool.
16 and 15 ain't too bad.
I'm gonna.
Fortune of the many for additional +3.
Yeah.
Well, +2 actually, because it's only 2 companions.
Is it?
mean-
It's number of allies you can see. I
Yeah,
think
so it'd be the
I'm-
2 in your cart with you.
Yeah.
Oh.
Alright, 21 fitness as.
Oh.
So we just need Terra's roll. I don't know if she's AFK at the moment though.
How
I'll
come
say
you,
as
Oh, you got armor. Right.
Mm-hmm. I know,
Yeah,
rip the 20.
heavy armor.
that's sad. Yeah,
That's why I
as
asked.
as the caravans move into the actual gate and they stop, you hear the sounds coming up as you're all hunkering down, getting ready for stealth. Jesus Christ. You do hear a lot of sounds of people disembarking, as some of the few voices you hear from what sound like Sumerian guards are being like, "All right, you know the drill. Get down. We'll take it from here. Follow these buds. They'll take you to your new homes." And you hear like a lot of people getting off the wagons and whatnot. You can assume that everyone who came here with you has been forcibly removed from their positions. You hear new people climbing up onto the wagons. There's a lot of poking and prodding. You hear tarps getting moved, boxes getting checked. You hear clanking of metal underneath the wagon as someone is probably using a spear to check to make sure no one's clinging to the bottom of them.
Yeah, a lot of people are smacking the pommels into the tarp to see if there's any sounds other than wood being struck.
Stupid semantics question.
Mm-hmm.
Because this is a dex-based check,
Mhm.
could I argue to use a thing of the Ring of Evasion to increase it slightly?
No, because you aren't evading anything.
Yeah,
Evasion is more like dodging and moving.
Oh, I just thought I'd ask.
But you sit there for about 10 or 15 minutes as this poking and prodding and stuff happens. After a while, like after about the first 5 minutes, you hear the first, like, ahead of you guys, someone's like, all right, this one's good. And that wagon, you hear a wagon start pull away. After another 5 or so minutes, you hear another come, bang, bang, clang. And then, all right, this one's good. Second wagon starts to pull away. So there's a real question of which wagons did you put yourselves in, because they're leaving at different times.
I honestly don't really know.
You
guys
would be
in-
in like
the
first
four
and
options.
second.
Yeah.
Yeah. Easy to see there. Then your 2 wagons are the ones to go first. Which group of 3 is in the front wagon?
I don't want to make any assumptions, but I assume Sylvie's group would be in the front, helming this
Yeah.
operation, and we'll be in the second one.
Probably.
As both groups are like getting poked and prodded, then we'll go back a bit. There are a couple of very close calls for both Christine and Inazaz as Xavier, as like hands, gloves touch like crates next to you but don't notice you, sort of deal. Like you can see their hands, you can see you can't really distinguish the face, but you can see the body like peering into the wagon, looking in, grabbing onto an area that you're close to but not exactly spotting you. As both carts go through, as you hear the movement of the wagon is now taking over your hearing. Though it doesn't go very fast. You seem to be going at a very like trotting pace and then stopping every so often. You hear like you walk for, you get the horses start walking for a couple minutes, and then they slow down and stop, and you hear conversations between the people on the wagon and just people on the street talking.
Is there anything you would like to do during this time? Like, is there anything you guys are doing while this travel, or are you guys gonna wait and see if it goes further?
Well, we were told to stay on, but
You were
I'm
told
assuming,
to slip out when you could.
okay. So, I think I'll roll a perception.
Yeah, go for it.
Like pick up like if there's ever a time where like I can hear like people leave, basically.
Yeah. So, as you're sitting in this front wagon, it rolls for a bit. Like I said, a few minutes later, it stops. You hear a lot of conversations of what sounds like different guards here talking to each other. After a couple minutes, it starts to roll again forward, moving at a very casual pace, and you hear it getting louder and a lot more voices happening. As you're heading deeper into the city, and it seems like the area is getting busier the longer you go, at least for now.
And it seems to be stopping again. After a few seconds after that, it stops, and you feel movement from people in the wagon at the front, getting off, moving to the bag, opening the gate, and grabbing 1 or 2 boxes, and then from like whoever's seeing, they can see that they're handing it to what looks like a bunch of civilians.
Okay. It's difficult because it's like, because we've split up, it's like we can't really organize this, but at the same time, like if we jump off now, like in broad daylight, we could so for some of us we could sneak through, like slip through the cracks, but for most of us we wouldn't be able to. I don't really know. Like, I can't really make a decision on the fly with this one. Does anyone else have any good ideas right now?
Front wagon is also Akfa, so does Akfa have anything he wants to do?
Just thinking. Akfa's passive 17 would probably be able to pick up the extra noise. Not necessarily what's been said, but extra noise, yeah?
Yeah, a lot of, honestly, even with that, like the walls are just fabric for the most part. So a lot of it is you can hear the conversations pretty clearly. It's mainly the guards talking to other people just about like, you know, how the day is going, what's going on today, nothing urgent. When you come to this big stop, it's one dude calls out being like, all right, shipment's here, come grab a few. And then, you know, some people come around, the gate opens, they hand a few boxes off. After a minute or so, they even like close the gate up, and it seems like they're going to keep moving to another, like somewhere else in the city.
As they kick off, you also just hear, reminder, everyone get in your houses past curfew.
Ooh, okay.
I like this. Aqua's gonna wait. I want to know if they're gonna try and pick up, say, the box Aqua might have gotten into.
Well, you guys aren't in boxes, you're behind a lot of the boxes.
Right.
I'm assuming the boxes are filled with stuff.
Yeah, so you know all these boxes are full of like food and like leather and hide and linen, stuff that civilians would need. Like the city is technically under siege in a way, but from information you also know is that like the Amarisian Empire is actively providing food and whatnot to the people here, so that way none of the civilians starve.
Then I want to listen for something specific.
All right, what specific thing?
After a carriage stops, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, they called out for people to help get things moved.
Mm-hmm.
Would it be possible to hear the driver get out of the way, out of the front part where...
Oh, absolutely. You heard him get off the front of the wagon.
Which would make that the safest exit, potentially.
Yeah. You heard someone get... You heard the person get off the front who was driving the wagon. He got off and walked around the side.
Now, assuming things are stacked up in the back here a bit, could it be possible to eke out the front and see what we could spot? Like, just slightly under the cloth.
Yeah, you want to poke out, you want to have a look at the front?
Yeah.
Alright, make a perception check, Akfa, and also make another stealth check. 24 perception. Good stuff.
I'm gonna just take
As
the
a-
inspiration.
That's really bad.
As you're
Okay.
poking your head out, you see that you seem to be in a very, like, one of these very populated areas that we pointed out from before. This seems to be, like, near the residential area, near where a market would be.
So there'd be a lot of noise.
Yes, you see a lot of. You do spot what the others saw, these patrols that seem to be mainly made up of Warforged, groups of at least 10 or so. You see a bunch of guardsmen that aren't really wearing like the city's guards. They seem to be sort of mercantile people, mercenaries. I mean, they're all just wearing this very like black tanned armor, like very dark, and you see just civilians. You see people trying to just live out their day, kids playing in the street. They don't seem to really have a care in the world. All the adults seem to have a little bit of stress in them, whether they don't look particularly like well dressed or any manner. But they seem to be handling the scenario. The adults seem to be handling the
front.
scenario.
It doesn't look like anyone's looking until I maybe step on a creaky board.
Well, it's a case of you move the cloth in the front to have a look around a bit. You see all this stuff, and then as you turn to look, like you're looking around, you notice like one of these statuesque like Warforged turn in your direction, and it's like just at the same time you lock eyes with it.
Akva will whisper, or whisper loud enough for Christine. Does she still have invis? That's the question.
I mean, AJ can check her spell list. I don't know.
Yeah. If so, Akva would say invis now. And we climb out the front.
She does not.
Shit.
Ah, crap.
You know
She has
what?
alter self. I don't think she ever had invisibility.
That was,
Yeah.
that was an Aussie
She
thing.
did. She did. I had invisibility
Does-
and I went to things.
You know what? I
No,
assume
that
the
was- that might have been
Warforged would
Slayer.
start moving after a second.
Yeah, so if you, I'm gonna give this a split second reaction, then you tell her invis now. She looks at you and goes, I can't. And then the Warforged like full body turns and starts moving. And as it turns and moves, the like three that are with it all turn and start moving with it. As like this one that's in the lead goes, the three with it immediately start to follow.
In
As
that
it's
case-
walking directly towards the wagon.
You just hear, what? What's got you guys spooked?
Ooh, in that case, I have another way I can go around this. Akva's actually going to say hide, and he's going to jump out the front.
Oh my
Okay, so you're jumping out on your own.
He's good on his feet. He knows that.
All right, you leap out the front of the driver's area onto the driver's seat of the wagon. I'm assuming you're not sitting down to try and drive the wagon, though. You're probably leaping off as well.
No, I'm going to try and lead them away.
Yep. So as soon as you jump out, immediately this group of Warforged, which one of them already knew you were there, continues making its way towards you. The guard like jumps back, like, "What the? We got a snake! We got a snaker!" And he jumps up. they're reaching down for some kind of cudgel. You see another group of Warforged a bit further off are all turning and moving this direction at a moderate pace. And there's a second guard for this wagon, but he's around the back, and you can all hear him start to run around the opposite side.
Yeah, you just hear, some of you check out the rest of this wagon!
Yeah, we need to fucking... we need to ditch. I'm
I
going to
will
assume...
give Sylvie and Tara... Oh, not Sylvie and Tara. Sylvie and Christine can roll... If they want to leave stealthily, they can roll this stealth with advantage. Arthur has very much distracted everyone at this point.
Could
I
you want
will
the
sneak away.
distraction to jump in onto the back of the horse off that to get it, to start running in a direction towards a wall or something? I could see. It would spook the
Yes.
horses, creating further noise. Distraction.
You could absolutely try and do the fantasy / medieval action thing of leaping into the horse in the front of the wagon, cutting the guidelines, and trying to ride the horse away.
Oh, I'm not
Yes.
going to ride the horse.
Oh, you're just jumping onto its back and then jumping off.
Jumping on it to get a reaction out because I know for a fact he's not the greatest with animals.
Okay. What were you going to do, Sylvie?
I'm going to diggity dash.
Are you
And
also...
I'm assuming, take Christine with me.
But you guys can try and take advantage of the stealth, the distraction to sneak away?
I certainly am.
Yep. Well, she'll go with you.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm fucking...
Yep. So
outta
stealth with
here.
advantage.
That's
Nat
a
20.
Oh, thank God. Oh, I hope that she
16
rolls
on
good.
her end.
Yep.
Oh, that's
So
pretty good.
the two of you, as you hear the guy running on the side, you both clamber over the back of the wagon and you pop out the rear. You can look with your perception, you can easily see that the attention is focused on Akfer, who proceeds to leap off the front onto the back of the horse, kick it to get it to get angry. Make an animal handling check, Akfer.
Or intimidation.
Or intimidation.
Yeah, intimidation's more my thing, I think.
I mean, animal handling is funny though. Natural one.
Wait. Inspiration.
Oh,
Yeah, you spend your inspiration to re-roll that? Okay.
There we
Natural.
go.
Yes!
Yeah. So you leap onto the back of the horse.
Yeah.
You just dig your claws into it very slightly, and you see with the horses, their eyes go very white when they're spooked, and you watch this thing go from calm and collected to I am about to die in about a half second. It starts screaming. It kicks the wagon. It freaking tries to bolt while the other horse is trying to bolt in the opposite direction. And yeah, you.
The wagon lurches forward, sort of twisting and winding at this point. You jump off, you continue to run, directing other people. As the wagon seems to be immediately started moving, Sylvie and Christine, as the last guard that's on the back who called out for the wagon to be searched, is moving towards the front. You use this opportunity as the lurch happens. Both of you jump out, tuck, roll into a nearby alleyway, and make yourselves scarce.
Very scarce. Depending on how far we get. Honestly, I want to get a decent distance away that we can not get picked up at all, but at the same time, I don't want to go too far that I don't see the rest of the group. But, yeah.
For now, with your stealth, you can say you can be stealthy in this area for a bit.
Is there any way of getting on? Are the rooftops in a way, are there spots where we could sort of duck down and hide on the rooftops, or are they, is it a real good way of getting up on them?
There isn't really much of a reason for external ladders and stuff to get on. You could probably do it if you really needed to. There's no proper easy way to get onto the rooftop, but they are slanted. You could, or most of them are slanted. You could hide on them if you truly needed to.
I think for just simple sakes, I'll just say that for now we use whatever cover we need to. If people sort of move closer to us, we find a better spot, sort of thing. I'll just keep it simple like that.
Yeah. So you're staying stealthy on the ground for now.
Yeah, for now, just because I don't know how well Christine will be able to do climbing and stealthing.
Well, we can say for now you guys stick to the alleyway. You move a bit deeper into the shadows. You do know there's a second cart coming with the rest of your friends, so it makes sense you didn't want to boogie out of the entire area.
I'd suggest that maybe Christine uses Alter Self on herself. She probably already had it up, though.
I assume she already has it up.
Yeah.
Set up paint before
all of this?
You already used it. Don't worry.
Inazad used Master Data Trace on you guys. You guys are in two groups of three in two separate wagons. This is the front wagon that's having bad times. So a quick thing to put. So you guys hide in the alleyway with your stealth checks for now. You know that no one spotted you with the commotion going on. Ankfor, you're about to take off running through the streets. Is there anything in particular you are trying to? Is there any aside from just running? Like, is there anything you're trying to accomplish aside from run away?
Just to be clear, is this an open street that we're on then?
You're in like a kind of market-ish area. It opens up in like a crossroad where there's different ways to come and go, and it seems people have kind of gathered in this area to collect supplies.
There's
You say the map.
what would you call them? Residential though?
Yeah, it's mostly. I believe this area is still mostly residential.
The residential area proper is like to the northeast.
No, that's okay. Would you say much of this residential is more than one story?
I think this particular. Okay, so there's residential everywhere because it's a city, you know.
Yeah.
This particular part of the city, I believe, was mostly shops and whatnot.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
there's people living
The
here.
warehousing.
So like there's a couple stores that are two-story, but a lot of this is like one-story buildings.
Okay, so I'm going to do a bit of a mixture thing here. Judging, I know I got a good look and seeing the size of these Warforged, yeah?
Yeah, so they're about humanoid sized. In fact, one thing you do see as a few of them are moving towards you, they don't seem to have weapons in their hands initially.
Wide shoulders.
Hmm?
Wide shoulders?
Well, they're pretty decently big. I don't remember the exact stats.
No,
I think
that's
they're. Yeah, but what you do notice is one of them in the lead, as it's like walking towards you, its hand kind of twists and bends and forms almost like a mace at the end of its arm.
What?
That's fine. What Akfa's going to do because I assume he probably has the speed on these things, he's going to head towards a bit of a crowd, but going to dip off as soon as he sees sort of an open house door or something. He's going to get in and through a house. If he sees stairs, he's going up for a window.
So your goal is to get into the buildings to try and break line of sight.
I am going to Assassin's Creed 3 this.
All right, then in that case, I think the perfect starting for this, the first roll for this will definitely be an athletics check to break into a dash and get through the first group of civilians in your way. So make your athletics check.
Damn, can't be
Good luck. Good luck. Oh my god, what are your rolls? Oh my god.
Oh, that's strength, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
You could
actually, could I have... Yeah, I could have bonus action. Would that give me... Yes, it would.
I mean, yeah, you'd have advantage.
Yeah, you know what? This is a raged.
And give it another attempt.
Yep, I'm angry. They're threatening my friends.
This is a case of, yeah, you jump, you notice you have to push through a large amount of people. Aggression's running through your body. As you jump down off the front and you see this Warforged moving towards you, you run headlong through the crowd of civilians, who are scattering because these Warforged are walking towards the crowd. You watch as like people are in the way, they're just like pushing them out of the way. Like one like woman standing in the way, they just grab her by the shoulder and just like basically throw her to the side to clear the pathway as they continue in pursuit after you. Make a perception check as well then to see what you can see.
God,
Oh
fuck,
my
Jesus.
god, you're having a
On
really
the plus
rough
side, you gain inspiration again.
Yep. I mean, it's just
well.
terrible.
Yeah.
It's not going to be
The-
the best outcome.
The group of people is too much. With the madness of people chasing behind you and the people in front of you moving out of their way and your way, you're really unable to focus at the moment on seeing if there's any way, like any particular building that would suit the needs at this moment.
Then to burn the reaction, could I, to see, well, let's see how brave these civilians are, could I throw a handful of gold coins behind me?
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
How many do you
absolutely.
want to throw?
I don't know, like, it'd just be like a handful, so let me roll a d20. That seem fair?
Yeah.
So it's like a decent handful, which, you know what, we'll take it out of the silver, so that'd be, what, 70?
Yeah. You
Cool.
throw.
Fistful of
Yeah,
coins.
you throw a fistful of coins. Some of them hit the ground with the patter of coins. Others you hear ding 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 as they hit this just group of Warforged that seem to be marching towards you.
I was gonna say if you roll a 1 on that, you throw
fast are they
one
moving,
coin.
by the way? Like, they're going 30? They dashing? What are they doing?
Yeah, so they're moving at like they don't seem to like run, but they're moving at a fast speed towards you. Equivalent of they're moving their full like 30 to 60 feet. They seem like they're in a march despite moving at like a fast speed.
Right,
As
right.
you're
Yeah,
not
I'm more
dashing,
wondering
they-
if I can. Yeah.
As you're both not dashing, you still have the lead on them, but they are they eventually you outrun them, but they are still within
No.
line of sight.
It's a case of you're pushing through the crowd, you see them going forward. Sylvie and Christine spot behind him as this dude, like, they take off. The two guards who are on the wagons run for a bit, stop, and then start to head back towards the wagon. One of them grabs something from, like, the seat, and, like, they grab something from the seat, and they hold it up and, like, basically just point it in the air and do something. You don't see anything happen, but then he turns to his mate and goes, alright, we gotta keep moving, but, well, it's up to the Forge now, they'll sort that out. And they basically climbing back onto their wagon to keep going. Well, Arkva, you're still being pursued by a group behind you, and something happened, but you're not sure what.
That's not my problem at the second.
Change this to
That's not
flight,
good.
easy. This is sort of
Deal with one thing at a time, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. We'll quickly switch to the other part, other group.
Yeah, the three of you are rolling through the city. It, comes to a stop. The wagon comes to a stop rather abruptly. It was like plodding along at a rather slow pace, and it comes to a very sudden stop as there is the sound, as before, of people getting off and starting to unpack things. Yeah, they walk around the side. This is the first time you've experienced it. They get a few boxes off the back. You hear the guards on the two dudes who were on the wagon driving are talking to somebody else. Is there any actions you would all like to take?
So is this after the others shit the bed?
Yeah, this is the case of, like, you guys are at the first stop.
Yeah.
You guys are at the first stop unloading stuff. They are at the second stop.
So yeah,
Okay.
it's so
We haven't
yeah,
caught up yet. We're
you're in
like
group two.
you
5-10
are-
minutes behind.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're about 5 minutes behind.
Yeah.
Okay.
So like.
So
sort
this
of
is happening at
concurrent
about the same
with-
time as
yeah.
them shitting the bed.
You're in this group terror. You with the.
Okay.
You with.
And we don't know
Terra.
anything's happened yet.
No.
No,
not the
so
remnants.
this is Inazaz, Terra, and Xavier.
I didn't realize that was so
And
far down.
we're
I
in
looked
the-
zoomed way out.
So this is where the other people that are on the wagon are getting off, and new people are getting on.
That's happened all the way back at the
You're-
wall,
yeah.
back here.
You're in the. You're,
Okay.
you're at this first stop where they started handing out goods.
Okay. Alright. I got a plan.
Okay.
I'm gonna start lazily getting up, moving as God fucking damn it! Sorry everyone. Goddamn Nebbins knocked me out.
You just call it goddamn Nevins knocked me out.
Yeah, Nebbins. I'm saying that Nebbins knocked me out. We're drinking, and I think they put me on the cart. There must have been some sort of funny ha joke, and here I am. I was meant to drop off at the gate. I'm sorry.
Step out of the wagon.
Yeah, so you're
Alright.
just like walking towards the back of the wagon while you're doing this.
Yeah, hands
Even
up.
as face
Hands up.
plants.
Hands up, getting up off the wagon, complying, but trying to perform my way out of this like I'm still like fucking hungover as hell.
As you
Okay.
jump out.
Yeah.
You see two people there. One of them like nods to the other one, and he goes and runs off.
The other dude stands like, okay, so who the fuck are you?
Roads have been tough. I'm hired muscle for the wagons. I don't know why they fucking left me back there. I wish they were fucking woken me up earlier. Jeffords.
Jeffords. Alright. Well, Jeffords,
Yeah.
nice to meet ya.
Sorry about this. This is very unprofessional.
I looks around the city, he's like, don't really know the level of professional you're acting on, but I can see you have a weapon on you. I would need you to take those weapons and put them in the back of that wagon right now.
I was only meant to escort them to the gate, man. I was just meant to get out of here.
Oh well, they
That's
didn't get out
unfortunate.
of there, so.
Yeah, they I don't know who you're with. They didn't get out of here. Don't know what kind of deal they told you were in here, but you don't just walk away from this stuff. I can tell by your everything, Mr. Plate or Mr. Fancy Armor. Don't think you're a resident Cenarian, are you?
I said I was a mercenary. I was here
Yeah.
to got the caravan. I meant to get out of here.
You hear the
That's cool.
clanging of-
I meant to drop them off at the gate and then go my way. That'd be it.
So while this is happening, as this conversation, Inazaz's Terror,
Yeah.
at the moment, you guys can just hear Xavier and one other person. You guys heard the other dude like take off in a sprint away from the area. What are y'all gonna do?
Well, I was
you go
hoping to
first.
ride this out to where we're supposed to go, but apparently not now.
That probably wasn't going to happen either way.
Uh,
If we're gonna
yeah,
be honest.
Tara is just going to keep an ear out and an eye out if she can, and if things start to really get bad and like Xavier is hardcore screwed, she has an idea of something to do.
Okay.
One
The
second.
two of you are waiting for now.
Does it involve fire?
I mean, it's
I'm just
terror,
waiting
so
for
probably.
it to involve fire.
as the conversation is continuing with Xavier, and you guys have chosen to just
Yeah, we'll just
chill.
wait for the moment.
You hear the clanging of metal as the guy has returned back with seems like a squadron of 4 of these Warforged.
Fuck.
You guys are like, well, as I said, take your weapons, put them in the back of the car. That helmet on your head, you can take that off. Whatever armor you can right now as well. This is called disarming you, my friend. Surprisingly enough, you woke up in the wrong city. So you're gonna take off your weapons and armor. Thanks for the donation to the armory of the free people of Sonaris. We'll put it to good use. But you're gonna sit right back there until our friends here are gonna take you somewhere special.
Pretty sure you don't want to be disarming an eye, though.
I don't give a fuck.
Do we see his weapons and arms be placed on the cart that
That's
we're
up to
Dudes.
Xavier.
Yeah, the dude's not actively trying to, like, he's physically not trying to take the weapons off Xavier. He's telling Xavier to take his weapons off himself and put them
He's
there.
asking him to comply.
Yes. So, is Xavier complying, or what is Xavier going to do? As then, like, another guard, a human like guard wearing this like makeshift armor-esque walks up with 4 of these Warforged in tow.
Xavier is going to not comply, though.
Okay.
Surprising. Caught me off guard.
He
Xavier
is
not
going
comply.
to. He is going to command.
Okay, you cast command.
Yeah.
On who are you commanding?
The guy talking to me at the moment.
Okay.
All right, what do you say? What's your one-word command?
Release.
Right. Let me roll the number. What's the save?
Just release me at the gate. I'll be fine.
What's the name? No, what's your DC?
My DC. That is a good question. My DC is 8 plus 7, which is 15.
Okay. What's the save? Wisdom or charisma?
I believe it's wisdom. It is in fact wisdom.
Okay. Alright, yeah, that makes sense. The fuck are you on about? The other guy says.
This guy, you say the guy commands, yeah, all right, yeah, fair enough, good to go. He starts to turn to leave, and this dude's like fully just turns his back, like, you're all good, man. And then his mate who's coming up is just like, what? So you've got a brief moment where the guy you just commanded is distracted, while the other group coming up to you is still coming up to you. They're closing the distance. They're not like they're at this point. They're actually getting pretty close.
Okay.
A brief window of opportunity.
Okay. At that point, biggity bounce.
So you're just gonna take off?
Book it.
All right. You turn and book it. I'm assuming away from the people who are about to reach you.
Yeah.
Cool.
I yell out the word, rats, and I just book it as fast as I can.
Okay, so make an athletics check for yourself as well. In Azaz and Terra, you see Xavier do something magic. You can tell he does. The guy turns to walk away, then Xavier bolts in the other direction. You can hear the other dudes coming up. What are the two of you doing?
Fuck my life. Okay. Right.
Turn it to rats.
Yeah, that's what we're gonna do. Inazaz turns and goes, rats on 3. 1, 2, 3, rats!
Are you both turning into rats?
Well, I am.
If I do what Tara was going to do. Tara doesn't really listen to people is the problem.
I was gonna turn into a rat anyway,
Okay.
regardless
Alright.
of what he was gonna say.
Inazaz turned
Because
into a
if he was going to leave his weapons and arms, I was gonna hold on to them and then turn into it because I get to keep what I'm carrying.
Yep.
But
he just
didn't do
bolted.
that, so.
So yeah, you're a rat. There's no problem. If you want to try and sneak away, stealth with advantage. You're a fucking rat.
Alright,
Terra?
yeah, I'm gonna to create further aversion away from the giant hulking Xavier. Tara, after Inazaz has moved out, she is going to push her way out of the back of the caravan. She's
Yep.
going to throw a flaming sphere in the air and yell, "Happy birthday!"
Okay.
All
Don't
right.
you
So
Don't you still have plus without a trace on?
how long? How long does it last? Oh, and it's
hour.
definitely not been an hour. So that's a
Cool.
yeah. No, that's
Isn't
a
it
solid.
only within also a vicinity of the person who cast it?
Which is in his as. So
Which
he'd
is
have
great.
that'd be a 28.
I don't know why this is so beautiful.
Okay, and so Terra, you're just throwing the flaming orb into the air, like just at
And smashing out of the caravan, yelling "Happy birthday!"
This is the best way
And
to
Okay.
do
with
this.
sufficient attention on her over Xavier, she will attempt to shift into something small that can just disappear.
Okay, so you're doing this, you're throwing it up, and then you're turning to also flee.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh my
And then when I
fucking
get
God.
a decent sort of area away, I will unwild shape and just pick one of the traitors' faces out of
Yeah.
a place we were in previously.
All right, so let's start with it. Let's just casually have a little initiative roll to determine the level of dumb shit that's about to happen on a citywide scale.
Every person. We'll have
Everyone, yes.
Sylvie and Christine are acting the same initiative because they did not split up from one another.
Oh, yeah, we didn't split the party. We're just fucking stupid people.
I think you
Why do
split
I
the
have
party.
an improved initiative?
Because you're with
Because
me.
of the quarterstaff of warning that you bought.
Yeah, that's
last time.
advantage. That should still be
Yeah.
a +2. I don't know. It's +5.
I give a +3.
To initiative?
So you wouldn't have the +3, so yours is a 17. Either way, you go in the exact same position you would be going in the order anyway.
That's pretty
Okay.
neat.
So to resolve the actions going down the list, we'll start with Arkfur. Arkfur, you're pushing your way through the crowd. There is a group of Warforged chasing behind you. You are gaining some distance on them for now. At least so long as that's the only group following you. So-
I will do another look a bit further down the street here now for another door again.
Absolutely. Perception check. Go for it.
That's better.
Much better. You look around, you able to spot like someone steps out of their shop front or something. You see the door open just off to the side of the street. At the same time you see that, you notice that down the side street that you're passing by is a second group of Warforged. Another 4 of them heading up towards you. You also notice down the end of the street coming in your direction is another group of Warforged heading towards you.
In I go.
Yep. Okay, it's a tavern. As you pop through the door, you step into this crowded tavern where there are a lot of people in the middle of the day. Not 100%, honestly, doesn't make a whole lot of sense. This is like the early-ish morning, like work day. You'd expect this to be a bit emptier.
9 a.m.
But this is like packed with people.
Okay, so this is like charging in reaction. Drinks are on me.
What?
Yeah,
As,
yeah, you yell that.
as I throw.
A bunch of gold.
Don't be a coward, pick a number.
Okay, yeah, I throw like 15 gold pieces.
Who throws the coin?
Towards the
throws
bartender.
coin?
Actually, you know what? Just up in the air. They can pick it up.
Let's see.
Yeah, a bunch of the patrons like jump towards grabbing the cash. As they're going down, like, you have free drinks. You
Now-
push your way through the crowd. Make
There is also
Yeah.
stairs.
So yeah, this is definitely there's a second story for this place.
Yeah, that's where I was going. Up.
Yeah, all right, you start going up the stairs. One thing you notice, all these people who are in here, they're all wearing very similar clothes.
Mhm.
Almost all of them are wearing very dirty, looks like well-worn, like laborer or like physical labor style uniforms.
Yeah.
Some of them
it's
have
gotta be a
like
payday for them having someone burst in and be like, "Drinks are on me tonight."
yeah, some of them have like what looks like permanent like dirt stains or something on their cheeks, like their hands, like their fingertips, like blackened with whatever they're working on. But just yeah, everyone in this in this tavern is the exact same occupation by the look of it.
Mhm.
You run up the stairs. What is your goal up these stairs?
Gonna be trying doors.
Okay, you're just gonna try a door and try to find an open
Or
room.
if one is open, I see, I will slip in.
Okay, so you're just trying to like hide up here.
Sorta. So from the outside, I could assume that I'd be looking at the upstairs towards the back wall because there might be windows into something. I don't know if there's a courtyard. I mean, looking at the map, I could out of character say yes, there's a courtyard or something. But Akva, thinking on previous cities he's been in, would think, okay, there may be doors looking out into a back alley or something. Make sense?
You're basically trying to find out like a way out from the second floor.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You run down, checking different rooms. Just roll a d20 for luck.
Sure. I'm gonna. Can I inspo that one?
Yeah, totally. It's a
I don't know
d20
if
you
you
roll.
can inspo just a d20 on
Hey,
its own.
I'm letting you because I'm nice. Yeah, you run down as you go door to door to door. You manage to find one that is unlocked. As you open the door, it is empty. It seems to be an in-room or some kind, but no one's staying in there right now. You burst the door open. There's some maid in there currently, like basically cleaning off the bed as she like jumps up in fright. And there's a window directly opposite the door.
I do apologize to them. As I lock the door,
You just try to lock the door behind you. The
just put up my
person
finger
like
and be like, shh, 1 sec.
make a persuasion or intimidation check.
I'm better at intimidation, typically.
I mean, you are pretty intimidating. You could be trying to persuade and it would be intimidating.
You put your finger up and you go, shh. And she looks at you, nods, and then goes, starts yelling as you lock the door.
That completely cut out. But I heard you from the other side of the house.
That's okay, but there would be a lot of noise downstairs, so not the end of the world.
So you're just going to chill in this room for a moment?
I'm still going towards the window, but the door's locked.
Oh, okay. So yeah,
Like,
you
she can
just
run
lock the
out, I
door.
don't care.
Yeah, you lock the door, you go towards the window, you open the window,
I
it
would
opens into
flicker
like a
gold
rear
piece,
courtyard
but I don't know
area.
if I'm allowed to.
Hmm?
I would flicker a golden piece, but I don't know if I'm allowed to.
I mean, you can, who cares? You can flicker gold if you want. Go for it, spend a gold.
Yeah, have a gold. You know what? No, we're feeling generous. Have
This is loose
3.
initiative. It's not like every 6 seconds at the room.
Yeah.
I chuck her a couple gold. Payday.
Yep. You throw the gold on the bed in front of her. She looks down, really confused, as you then open the window and climb out.
Like
Yeah.
I sort of, I'm going to take a chance here as we go to the next person in initiative, sort of looking out. We'll pause there.
Yeah.
And
That's like, I'm just saying, like, are you going out down, or are you going to try and go out and up? That's the only question I'm after.
it will depend entirely on what I see.
All right. Well, then we'll cover that next time as we hard cut to Sylvie.
Yeah, Sylvie and
Alright,
Christine, what are you doing?
Okay, so I'm saying, like, there was an explosion. I'm pretty sure I heard the fucking fireball, like, flame orb go off. over there.
Yeah, about this point, you hear a sudden commotion, and you look out of the alleyway to see this orb of flame just shoot up into the sky and slam into the street behind the other wagon, back the way you guys came.
It's like, well, that escalated quickly. Alright, time to get up high. We need to keep an eye on the people down there. Hopefully they can get out safe. And I'm going to try and help Christine to get onto the rooftops. For wherever I can find, like, if there's a spot that's like, yeah, like if there's any easy-ish way to get onto the roof.
Okay.
I can probably get up there
So-
like, without too much effort.
There's not
I'll
much
say
of like that, but like you can get on the roof. There's nothing that's gonna like be easy because a lot of this building is
Yeah.
just like there's just not structured to have in the city. It's like never a reason to go onto a rooftop if there isn't needed to be. But yeah, you can obviously help her get up on the roof as well as yourself.
I could always use my my key points. I believe it's
Yeah.
Step of the Wind, if I
I was
remember.
gonna say, you could either roll for it if you wanted to try and get you and Christine to the roof quietly, or if you want to just spend key points to use Step of the Wind, I'll let you just do it.
Like she could just like jump up with that.
And then you
I
basically help
don't know.
her up, Christine, yeah.
And yeah, then I help her up sort of like quietly.
Yeah.
As long as like I don't imagine that would be too noisy, just like jumping up there.
That's what I'm saying. Like, if you want to try and do it without using key points, there'll be a check to make. If you want to do it with key points, I can say you and Sylvie get to the roof without any problems.
Yeah, I'm gonna use the key point. because
Easy. Key point.
Better to just get that out of the way. So yeah, like I help her up as well. And at the moment, I think probably just gonna try and stick sort of in between. Like I saw Artfa running up like that direction, like that he's at, but I don't have any idea where he is now.
Yeah, you've lost sight of Artfa.
So I'm probably just gonna try and keep eyes on. Like I'm gonna see if I can see anything of like the other three.
Right, so
Roll
that would be perception then, I guess.
Perception.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you're just going to chill on here until you can see something else for now?
Yeah, so it's sort of like try to. I'll start by like rolling this perception just to see if I can see people moving. That was a pretty bad roll.
You can probably see the conglomerate of the Warforged heading northwest towards northeast towards Artha. And you can see a smaller contingent group heading south, which appears to have some like man dressed in full armor that you think is your friend Xavier.
Yeah, okay. Oh. It's difficult because it's like at this point it's best to lay low and just let like them deal with it themselves. There's three of them. Arkfur being on his own doesn't fill me with that much confidence, but I know he's pretty slippery and he can sort of like climb pretty well.
I will throw this out. I don't know if Christine would give you this information or if it's ever been brought up. Christine would know for a fact Arthur has escaped something worse, which was the goblins.
Yeah.
Or at least came back alive from that. Not necessarily how they escaped, but
Like he is known to like to be able to slip through like
he's
cities
found
and
ways
stuff,
before we guess.
basically. I'd say for now, like probably laying low on the roof, just trying to sort of watch what people are doing. Like see where the Warforged are heading, see when it all calms down, whatever, like maybe sort of try to go there. But at the moment, yeah, just laying like on our stomachs, like sort of peeking every now and then, trying to keep us like inconspicuous as possible, I would say.
Yeah, you also remember that you have, I think you or Christine, one of you has, or Akva, one of you three has the mandible as well.
I have the
That
mandible.
would be Sylvie.
So you have the
I'm
mandible.
hoping for that to be a thing. That's yeah. Also, does Christine have sending at the
Which
moment?
don't know.
I know she did have it, but whether or not she's
no.
damn, that would have been a really useful one to have. Okay, all right. Well, it's not a whole lot.
Does she have message?
Message ain't gonna help.
No, that's
Yeah, you need to be able to see the person, don't you?
You need to know exactly where they are.
Okay. Yeah. No, that
Alright.
doesn't really help. Yeah. No.
So you're
That,
chilling for now
Are
then?
you chilling on the roof?
yeah. I feel like it's difficult because it's like whether or not we should move up. I don't know where Artfur is, and like going towards the commotion of the other two seems like a bad idea. I think we're gonna stay put and just wait for the bullshit to blow over.
I'll have both of you roll a stealth check with advantage because now you're on the roof. There is a different check
Yep.
entirely.
Easy peasy. Do we need to roll that every turn?
No.
No, it's just because now you're on the roof.
Yeah,
Yeah,
easy.
it's like this is you guys finding somewhere to hide up on the roof because like the roofs are slanted, but it's like there is really like at some point there's nowhere you can really sit that doesn't have view of some part of the street.
Yeah.
So determining if you can find somewhere like with your 19, you find a little nook where you're basically crouching between a part of the slanted roof and like a chimney that's giving you like most cover from all directions.
Okay.
Okay. Next up in the order bracket will be Inazaz then. What are you doing, my little mouse friend?
Well, I'm not quite sure, because, like, this is fucked.
Yeah,
This is
Yeah, it is.
so fucked.
we're all split up. It's not good.
We got nowhere to group, nothing.
It's like stepping on a jack jumper nest. You need to like just fucking leave it alone until it like settles back down.
If it does help, Tara would say pretty much, I'm doing a distraction, then I'm getting on the rooftops.
Yeah.
And she would wait for Inazaz to kind of get a second to get out before she did her whole.
Oh,
Nah.
hopefully we all go on the roof.
Okay.
Roof straps, huh?
So
Alright.
you're a mouse right now, or a little rat, in the street. What are you doing with that?
Just doing rat things.
It's ratting around.
These are all bad ideas.
Yeah, but they're the best kind. I mean, like, look at where we are now.
I excel on bad ideas.
I've got a bad idea. And that's it.
I just want to say
I
this
really
group is
don't
a
want to
stop a
waste
war.
my 4th level spell slot for this bullshit.
Here we.
Alright, fuck it. You owe me one. I will find a nice little spot to just bamf back into myself.
Mhm.
God damn it. Alright, I'm gonna do something. Now, I should probably preface first, because this is using a spell that you guys don't like use because it's overwhelms the combat tracker. So I'm gonna ask before I do it if I can summon 10 giant centipedes in
Totally.
order to heavily distract these guys
Yeah,
enough
fuck
for
yeah.
Xavier
This
to get out.
this isn't proper combat, so it doesn't really matter in this regard.
That's why I figured it would be alright, but I'll just check anyway.
I'm not
Yeah,
gonna.
you rat into an alleyway, turn back to yourself, and then just throw a fistful of giant centipedes out of you.
Yeah,
Out of
throw it.
Fuck yeah.
That pocket centipedes.
Jesus.
How big? Let me determine what type of giant they are. Are they like people sized or bigger
I think
than
they're
people?
medium sized.
Are they arthroplurisized? I think they're
Right,
arthroplurisized.
centipede.
That would be very bad.
Speed 30 feet, climb 30 feet, small beast. So they're about the size of dogs.
Yeah. Okay.
damn.
Yeah, you got dog
I
sized
don't know.
centipedes running around the streets now.
Which
There's
is
baby
terrifying.
arthropluris.
Horrible, horrible mental
Like
image.
that.
They're really only a small
Wait.
beast.
They're a small beast.
Yeah, because they're
the ones
bug.
with
Because
100
they'd be
legs.
like they're probably less
Yeah,
than
true.
tiny. Like as a bug by itself. Like usually.
Well, I
you
think
have
there being
swarms.
10 of them
Yeah,
should
that-
be.
Yeah, that's what we're saying. There's
Small
10.
enough,
There's 10 dogs running around. It's still 10 dogs.
That's 1,000 legs, you monster.
Can anyone say Carboniferous era? I mean, what?
And so I'll have them like go towards more the people because I feel like the people will freak and the robots will sort of low-key not care.
Okay.
Because you're basically throwing them towards the two guard dudes more than the robots.
Yeah, and then to just be in the way, like generally, that way
Yeah,
they'll
okay.
either have to deal with them or like
Yeah.
leave their melee range, quote unquote.
I'll have this distraction. This distraction will give you advantage on your next check.
Now, if you fuck it up, it is 100% your fault.
Oh, definitely.
All right, and then I will climb to the rooftops. Let me
Alright,
click
do
my
you-
4th level.
Do you have a climbing speed?
I think you might.
Swim speed.
No, you do not. Yeah. Okay. It's
Just make an
yeah,
athletics check then, just to
yeah.
do it like without breaking a bunch of shit and making a bunch of noise.
Mhm.
Because like it's not a case of can you do it, because like you have enough time where you can do it.
Yeah.
It's a case of do you draw attention to yourself while doing it. Well, it's AJ's call.
No, yeah. With the you get advantage. I'll give advantage to everyone for their next check with the
Okay.
centipedes in play.
Nobody thinks about the centipedes.
Yeah. As you use the distraction to, instead of like try to make less noise, you use it to time when the centipedes are making people scream, to then just like grab and chunk at the building and crack some brick as you climb the way up.
And yeah, you're able to get to the roof with that. Did you want to also stealth on the roof?
Yeah.
Okay, go
Do you
for
want
it.
me to
And
roll
then,
stealth?
Yeah.
Yes, please.
and then I think we'll jump down to Terra after your stealth roll.
Goddamn armor, please don't fuck me. They're both 4s.
Okay. As you try to make yourself inconspicuous, but you're very bright red with a purple hat and like this very like shale blue color tile. On the plus side, Sylvie, because this is sort of happening concurrently, you do see the hulking form of Inazaz climb up on one of the roofs towards Excel.
Oh. Alright, I found one of them.
It's hard not to see him as ours.
Alright, Terra, or Terra
Not my
as
fault.
it is.
Not a rat.
Yeah, she's a different person.
Oh, now she's...
No.
Oh.
So
Yeah.
pretty much, you pushed out the thing, threw up a fireball, not fireball. The best thing I could do to a fireball, a flame sphere, in the air to make myself much more this threat of just anything over Xavier, and then wild shape into a cat and hippy hoppity dip one out of that property,
Okay.
and do cat things like climbing onto fences to get to the roofs and stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're bolting as a cat.
Being a
Yeah,
cat.
pretty much.
Okay.
Easy.
Yeah.
Make
As
cat
you will.
checks.
Yeah, I don't think they should need a check, to be honest, for a cat.
I mean,
They
it's not to
can-
turn into a cat.
Yeah, we can do a stealth check to see, like, if you can do it so quietly, but, like, turning into a cat and then jumping on things is sort of a cat's thing.
Yeah,
Also,
considering
it's
how
being
I
in the
used to
dark
watch
and they
my
can't
cat
do
jump
that.
onto the roof from the floor, I would never understand that.
Yeah.
Also, you have advantage because as this thing lands and you turn into a cat, 10 giant centipedes come shooting out of an alleyway.
10 dog-sized centipedes just fucking skitter away across the main street.
It's terrifying. So many.
So,
diseases.
rolling stealth with advantage?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Alright,
This is
As a
the most
cat.
thing.
As a cat.
This is the most.
as cat.
cat thing.
I don't think I have a cat.
You got Mr. Squiggles. He'd be like the thing you turn into. Like a cat resembling him. They have a plus 2 to
cats.
dex. They have a
Plus 4 to stealth.
Yeah, so...
Possible to stealth? Alright.
So d20 plus 4 with advantage.
That's just my stealth then, because my
Yeah.
stealth isn't possible.
Go ahead.
How convenient.
Terra is secretly a cat.
17.
Yeah, 17. As you climb up onto the roof, you sort of, instead of like it is as like sort of like very like cautiously hiding, you sort of just lay down like a cat would, not really caring about the situation down below.
You can also
We
see it
kind
as
of get up onto the roof, make sure Xavier does actively get out of that area, and then she'll probably start trotting up north.
well.
Yeah, and you'd see it as and Sylvie, you see a cat climb onto the roof nearby.
Yeah, keep
It's
eyes
a
on
little
that
black
cat,
kitty cat.
because there's a pretty high chance that it is Terra, knowing that Druid.
Alright.
It could be.
Now.
Dimitri, Xavier, you are in the street. You've turned to bolt away from these two dudes. Suddenly, a large fireball lands basically directly next to one of them, of large flaming sphere. And as you're making your way, you hear yelling and screaming of a bunch of centipedes are thrown out of an alleyway at some people. You have a plan, right?
Well, my plan was to turn the Warforged on their masters, but that's not working now anymore. That's going actively out of my way. So using all of this as a mighty distraction, I shall book it the fuck out of there, as the kids say nowadays.
In what
I'm
regard?
just
Are
trying
you
to-
booking it quietly or like run? Regardless, your next roll has advantage.
Well, you see, if I book it the fuck out of there quietly, I still get a -1, and that's it. Whereas if I book it the fuck out of there hastily, I get advantage and a +8, so athletics.
Do that. Yeah.
Well, so Hastily is getting you clear of this situation, but who knows what else there is, you know?
They already think you're hungover,
Yeah.
so.
Roll athletics with
Roll what you
advantage, I guess.
I don't know what they think anymore. I really don't.
I'll
They're
take
probably
every-
thinking, "Oh fuck, these are some big scorpions."
Yeah,
Centipedes.
you
Centipedes.
turn and you start bolting down the street in your armor. There's like clunk, clunk, clunk as you run off. The guys who are behind you, you hear a lot of yelling. You look back over your shoulder just in time to see like one of the Warforged just bring its like weird mace fist down on one of the centipedes and just crush it into pulp. You've made enough. You made good distance away from them, but you know that they see you where you're going. They know you're going some direction. They just don't have the ability to follow you at this second.
Okay. I'm then going to attempt to go off into a back street or something. Don my desert grey cloak and pretend to be a enfeebled old man
Okay.
who is in
armor?
fact in armor. Yeah.
Your
Or
goal
wait,
is to-
what do these Warforged look like? Am I wearing similar enough armor
No.
No.
that I can't pull that off? No.
No.
They
Okay.
they don't. They're not really wearing armor. They just seem to have enhanced, like, metalware
They
on
are,
their
yeah.
chest and arms and stuff. Instead of like having a body, like as is written, like sort of their armor per se is sort of molded into their core.
Yeah.
It's just facsimile of armor.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna go.
It sounds like your first step is to get away quietly now, which is stealth,
Yeah.
and then to pretend you're someone else, which is performance.
Yeah.
So let's start off with a stealth check then.
I'm gonna use my inspiration to cancel out my disadvantage.
It's not a bad idea.
Now, fortunately, the many have a plus no at this time.
9.
Fine. You go into an alleyway. You run down the alleyway, the clang, 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 shink, shink, shink of your armor. What kind of armor do you wear again? Is it scale?
Lint.
Splint? Yeah, it's a lot of shunk and clunk as the metal scale, metal splints rub up against each other and clang loudly. You push past a box, which you half trip over and like cracks underneath the weight because you'd weigh a fucking lot wearing this. You're off the main
Yeah.
street, but you've left a trail in your wake.
Okay.
You get back to basically into one of these rear courtyards where there's like a lot of people in this area. Honestly, not like guards or anything. There's a lot of civilians standing around. You see people with like hanging washing lines from windows and stuff. You've got like basically kids that were like playing hopscotch or something in the street that have all stopped. Basically, everyone has turned to look at the large metal man who just came busting through an alleyway.
Okay. Oh, fuck. Giant centipedes! Run for your lives! They're meant for themselves!
Just roll me a flat. You know what? You can do intimidation if you want.
Yeah. Intimidation.
Intimidation.
Persuasion, I guess.
Or persuasion, yeah.
Like that.
I'd like
Like-
intimidation more.
Yeah, you can, yeah, either or.
It's just you and Xavier, whatever there's a persuasion check, it could easily also just be intimidation due to your size.
So, this large metal man covered in split mail, runs down through his hallway wearing a sword on his hip and his back. He stops, everyone looks at him, you point in the alleyway you came and go, "Giant centipedes, run for your lives!" The like mothers are grabbing their kids, fucking like dads are like over grabbing their wives, like they're pulling them into the buildings. People bolt. Everyone is like screaming now. Everyone is running.
No one's running away from the idea of the centipedes. They're running away from centipedes.
I mean, they're all running away from you, but you also came from the area with the centipedes, so who knows what they're really running from. Either way, everyone's running.
I will then try and blend in with the mass hysteria of running away.
Okay.
Okay. Make me a...
Stealth or performance?
I'd say stealth or performance check here.
I'm gonna
I'm
go
guessing
with
performance is the better of those two for you.
Yeah.
Who knows why the
Nah.
large man?
Fucking
God.
Who
funny.
knows why the large man in splint armor is afraid of the giant scorpions? But
That
he's
doesn't
scared
really
of
they
them.
are.
Since
So
Peeps.
you take off with the crowd. You are faster than some of the old people and children, so doesn't take you long to catch up with a few of them and to meld into it. Despite the fact that you're wearing a lot of armor, you like pull your cloak around yourself as best you can. You move your way, into the crowd, moving with them. Everyone's running. The hysteria spreads out from the area. So like people who are now on the street that you get to next also start to run, but they don't know why they're running. As a just crowd of people is now running away from the direction you came, you're pretty damn well mixed through them all. You actually see like another 3 groups of Warforged. One of them is heading up away from you out of the street. Looks like it's in the direction of the cart. One is coming towards you, but it doesn't seem to have spotted you. And another one is like the end of the street you're moving at, also moving up like towards the main street area. But yeah, so far as you know, you're melding with this crowd very successfully.
Okay.
I think that'll bring us back to Akva.
I will point out, just for everyone on the roof, you all see down in the area, Sylvie, you saw this before, but the other two, you notice that the guard that wasn't, like, charmed makes his way to the front of the wagon, does the same thing, looks like underneath the seat, grabs something and raises it to the air.
Do I recognize what that is? Can I
You
roll
can make
something for that?
you can make an Arcana check.
Okay. I'm not so good with Arcana, but I will give it a go. That's an at one. I have no fucking
Nope,
clue.
you are too far away. For all you know, he is holding a pipe.
Cool.
But he holds it in the air, and then he stuffs it back like he does it. He pulls it out, sticks it in the air, does something, and then he quickly tucks it into like his hip.
I'm suspicious.
I think I know what it is.
Oh no.
I have a theory as well.
Would Christine know? Would Christine, like... did Christine see it? You said I saw it.
Everyone
Sure,
on the
I'll-
rooftops can do it, but...
Yeah, everyone. Fuck it, yeah. Everyone wants to
like
make a roll for it. Like, Tara can make a roll, Inazaz can make a roll, Christine can make a roll.
It's definitely something I
Rolling
think they
Arcana?
would want to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you want to identify what it is.
-1 in. Let's go. Let's go.
Some part.
Okay.
Same good as 13.
You know,
Yeah,
all the
so
magic things.
see you, Tara. You've traveled very strange places and seen very strange things. You see what they pull out. It looks almost like a wand, not quite. Well, in a way, it is a magical item of some kind. As they go and point it up and trigger whatever effect it is, even though there is no sound or light emitted, you know from seeing that there is a sound and light emitted. You just can't see it. This is a wand. You're not sure exactly what it's called, but it initiates some kind of illusory effect that only can be perceived by the people who are intended for it.
Oh.
It's almost like they could be sending off a flare, but
They're
only the people who they
calling you
want to send could see it.
Bro.
Kind of like illusory script, but for a little illusory effect.
So can I see anyone else on the rooftops, by the way? Like, I know I can definitely see Inazaz.
You can't see
I-
Sylvie.
So he's too sneaky.
What about
Yeah, you-
Christine? Can I see Christine?
We're just pairing them together with
Okay,
that
alright.
number. That group is hidden.
Tara will probably make her way across the rooftops over to where Inazaz is then.
I don't think you can do that, but we'll jump to Akva for now, who's on the second floor of a tavern,
Okay.
currently climbing through a window. Ahead of you, on the ground, you see a courtyard, which has little gardens and whatnot set up. It looks like this would be some kind of rear drinking area for the tavern, while with a mix of like home area, like shops around. So like, there's small back doors to each of these different shops, a little like storage area maybe for like communal goods that aren't really that used. And then a bunch of tables with more of these people wearing these same uniforms, all sitting around just drinking and complaining.
And
Quite a few of them have gotten up here in the commotion side, and some are moving towards the building.
shit, did I accidentally drag some in?
Well, they're heading. A lot of sound is happening from inside this building right now, so who
Okay,
knows?
so directly outside the window, so down, yeah, there's that. Is there like a little, do they have like flower bed sort of things, or are these just windows?
This is just like a window outside.
Yep.
It's like an in-room kind of thing. There's
Okay.
not a lot of flair here.
I'm going to, oh, and if I was to look up, it's just roof.
Yep, there's like basically you're on the second story. The roof would be above you, so you'd have to like jump and climb.
Easy enough for me, I imagine, but I will do a perception, because I want to look a little bit more same level.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I assume there are alleyways.
Yeah, between several, like some buildings are side by side, but some are like pressed. Like some have small gaps between them.
Mm-hmm. And I would also assume with that I could see, say, any other second floor building if it had a window or anything like that, or on the first area there, doors that look like they may have been open to air out the building.
From this position up here, like it seems most of these shops, like the back doors are closed. You don't know if they're locked or anything.
Or
The
windows.
commotion happening from below, you're not really sure if that's going to draw more attention. But yeah, second story buildings around you. You're in a tavern. It's second story. It's 2-story. The shop next to you is also 2-story, but it doesn't seem to have a window on this side of the building. And in the other direction is like a 1-story shop of some kind.
That's alright. I did see enough from the outside buildings to know that this does extend in one direction at least, and I did see what was behind me a bit. I'm in this particular moment going to go up, and if I need to, I will burn another rage. But I imagine I can probably climb up there with the gloves of climbing and just my movement.
Yeah, you've gloved climbing. You're all good.
Yep, so I can get up onto the roof.
Yep. You pop out the window, you climb up. As you climb up, the woman who is in the room with you runs, sticks her head out the window and looks up like, what the fuck is happening? As she watches you climb up the side of the building.
I may have stole from the rich to give to the poor.
He says nothing as she watches you climb up. Like, who knows what the fuck's going through her head? You just burst in the
She
room, lock
believes
the
or not, That's
door.
up to her.
Yeah, it's entirely. But you climb to the roof.
Yep, at this point, I will stealth as I want to head a bit further up towards that unidentified creature too, which I assumed is a Warforged group.
Yeah.
I will stealth.
Well, you don't see any of these groups now, but because you're on the other side of the building.
I will stealth anyway.
Yeah, you
As
just
I'm on the
clamber
roof and I'm
quietly
heading
up.
down this way. Is that an alleyway? Could I like jump over to this part, or
Yeah, these buildings are all pressed up against each other, so you hop over easily to this one.
I want to sort of
You
stick
cling.
inside for the second, but I will gradually, eventually shift. I assume it's like a little peek over towards behind, like a chimney over this way or something. Eventually.
Yeah, so you move up, you look down into the street. You don't see any of the Warforged that were following you.
I mean, I've been through a building. Who knows if they're following fast enough?
Well, what you do hear, because you've passed Perception 17, right?
Mm-hmm.
You hear a very metallic, tinny voice that just says, comply, as from the building you're in, you watch one of these people dressed in like this, raggy, dirty outfit, get basically thrown through a window. Fuck.
You realize how
Sylvie-
much these are giving Cyberman vibes to me, right?
Well, Sylvie, from your angle, you see that basically the 3 groups of Warforged that were following Arkfur, they've all moved in more than two,
That
and
was sort
all
of robotic.
filing through the building.
It's still robotic. Is that just me?
I think this was
It might be just me. Alright, let's do a people check. Hello, I'm alive. I'm not a robot. I think that, yeah. I think Discord cut out chat. I can't hear any of my friends. No. Alright, I'm gonna get out. Everyone get out of the call and jump back in for a sec.
doing?
Alright, I'm alive. I'm AJ, not a robot.
Hi. Welcome
This
back.
one is better. We don't know why. This was.
Why? Why is this one
Okay.
better?
I don't know. Room
I
1
didn't
fucked.
hear a
Room 2
single
perfectly
fucking
fine.
word.
Well,
Have
everyone's
we
back
overloaded
to
the
room
first
1 now.
session?
Alright, back to room 1.
Oh,
Back to room
okay.
one.
Should have just
Change
jumped out.
places.
Well, the Discord thing's not fair. Alright, has now.
Okay.
Okay.
That's better.
Alright.
Yeah? Okay.
You fucking knows. I
you
was
cut
gonna
out
say,
the-
yeah.
You cut out the entire thing, the entire description.
It was like instantly just went
Yeah,
robot.
it's a robot.
And it was
Amazing.
so funny because you were talking
So-
about
Like, it stops with the silver UC.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we didn't
okay.
realize you were RPing the Warforged.
That makes sense. So I was like, Sylvie sees as the 3 groups of Warforged that were coming in the direction of Arkfur. All of them move towards the inn that the tavern he ran into, and all 3 groups basically file inside quickly, like one after another. Almost immediately, you see a commotion as one of the Warforged gets like pushed back out the door. Before, like the one that gets pushed back out the door, it then like twists its hand, shifts into this mace form, and it goes stomping back inside. And from a distance, you can't hear what's going on, but you can tell the signs of a very unruly crowd is being dealt with.
Why do I feel like I can hear it?
Well, you
Oh,
can.
from where you are, you can hear. Like, you see a man get thrown full bodily through a window, and then, like the Warforged, like you hear them in style doing whatever they're doing. Like one of them comes stepping out from the window towards the crowd in the back. This is the point you see that their hand, despite looking like a mace, it also crackles with like a blue energy.
Do I know what that is? Would that be radiant?
No.
No. Okay.
It's like lightning or thunder or
Um,
whatever. Or it would be lightning.
No, I was just
Yeah.
making sure my radiance more white, isn't it? Yeah.
It just seems that something inside this tavern, the people in there, not too pleased about the entrance of the Warforged. Some of them have decided to take exception to their demands, and now the people are being reinforced as to what comply really means.
Well,
A few people at the tables start to bolt away from what you can see, Akva, as this Warforged like grabs the man who is down and just like flips him over and like starts to manacle him and like move towards another group, like goes to move back inside.
we are starting. We started to get bad ping again.
No, not allowed. Bad ping. Fuck off.
I heard all that. It's all good.
So it's still Arkfur's turn at the moment, or is it?
Akva, are you just choosing to hide up here for now?
Yeah, as I said, Arthur's sort of like. Eventually, he does want to sort of shift like up to the other side, so he's not in direct view of the courtyard. That's sort of what he was doing.
Alright.
Or if there was a chimney, I don't know. But...
So there's a lot of crazy shit going on, and it's at that point of night where I really need to call it. Would you guys like me to do my 10 and then just call it for myself, and you guys keep going, or what? What would we like to
I
do?
think we'll finish the rotation stuff.
Okay, that sounds good.
Yeah, we'll probably be ending it after this round.
I saw it in his ass, and I saw a cat.
Everyone saw Inazaz.
Yeah, this is true. I am going to move towards Inazaz, but not go right, like, on top of the guy, because, you know, he's kind of sticks out like a sore thumb. So, yeah, I want to, like, try and group up again, if we can.
Right, roll an acrobatics to leap the road.
Oh, hang on. Because he's all the way over there.
Yeah, you have to cross. You have to take a leap across a main street, essentially.
That's a bad idea. No, I'm not going to do that. Not with Christine. I could do it because I've got... Hang on, Step the Wind. How long does that go for? It's just a turn, I think. Yeah, it's just a turn. I could do it that way, but no. I'm going to try and move towards that area at least, but I probably won't jump over. Terra's on the other side of the road, on the southern part, whereas in his
Yeah,
over there.
Yeah.
Is that just as far a jump?
No, it's not a major road. It's like a side street.
Okay, I'm gonna
Move towards the cat.
move towards the cat, just to, because I want to find out. Like, if it could just be a regular ass cat, but at least then I will also be closer to being able to see him as. So it's good to keep eyes on him at least. So, how are we doing movement here? Can I just move my little?
Yeah, we can say like you can move down to here.
Okay.
Like if you want to hop across, you can hop across with like just making like make an acrobatics check, basically just to say have you assisting Christine making the hop as well.
Okay. Yeah, we'll do that then.
Or again, burn more key points for a free hop.
Not this time. I don't reckon. I have inspiration, so I am going to use that inspiration from that.
That's a good idea.
I thought it was the one.
That's
Oh, that's a really bad roll.
okay. A 14 is still good enough. It's like you hop across, no issue. It's the fact that she jumps and like slips, but you manage to grab her and like pull her, like stop her from falling backwards into the street.
Yeah, cool, awesome.
Pretty sure the only way you could have failed that is if you rolled a 1. So it's a good thing you can re-roll.
The only reason I did that was because I had the inspo there from my nat one from before.
Yep.
So what? I just go.
Yep, you're there. So
Cats
you're basically
seem to
next
have-
Terra.
Does this cat seem to have like intelligence behind its eyes, or is it just cat?
Terra, what do you do when Sylvie comes? You now see Sylvie. She comes like running across the roof, hops that little gap towards you. Clearly not intending to hide from you.
The little black cat will run over to Sylvie and just start rubbing in between her legs and just purring.
You're like this is either a good thing or it is a cat. I will again duck down. I'll use a stealth. Was it advantage because I'm on the roof?
No, you did it before because you're on the roof.
Okay, cool.
You don't need to roll.
Yeah. Basically, she just like she ducks down, sort of like encourages Christine to sort of like duck down as well, and like pats the cat on the head, just like, yep, good cat. I think you're Terra.
You should just lay down on Sylvie's back and just keep purring.
Like, okay, this is awkward, but alright.
Alright. So you're chilling then?
Yeah, I'm chilling.
You're on the roof, standing dramatically, majestically. Your mushroom cap, very pronounced.
And I will. I need to take stock of the situation. How's the situation with centipedes going?
Most of them are dead.
Yeah, some of them have been smushed. There seems to be a riot from a street or so away from you that you can hear people are screaming.
Okay. If that's the case, then I will drop
So,
giant insect.
yep.
And I'll cast disguise self.
Okay.
Alright.
To look like a normal person.
What is a normal person Tanner's as?
Oh, fuck, isn't that the question? Sorry, I should say abnormal person. And let's say...
I am John the Human.
Corpse.
All his teeth are canines.
Hello, my name is John Smith. You know... It's so dumb. You know the meeting we had with the Shroud members?
Yes.
I look like that guy. That is the most recent point of, yep, that's a person. I've had a good look at. I'm them now.
So you're looking like Captain Aramis. Okay.
Sure, if that's his name.
Yep. No,
Okay.
Commander Aramis. Yeah, you transform into like slightly taller than you, human, wearing sort of
Taller than me? How tall is that motherfucker?
smaller than you.
Smaller than
Sort of around, like, yeah, probably around 6 foot. Yeah, wearing this sort of half armor, half casual clothing, blonde hair, blue eyes, blonde beard, standing on a
Too
roof.
blonde.
I will. Do I see anyone else, or are their stealths way better than my eyes?
Make a perception check.
What's your passive perception?
14.
Yes, roll a perception check.
Okay.
I want you to be able to see, but at the same time, I don't want anyone else to
Well,
see. That's a really
sorry
bad
guys.
roll.
Yeah, no, you can't see anyone right now.
Oh, it's unfortunate, but at least. Oh, hang on. Backup strats.
Mm-hmm.
I will use the eerie token.
Yep.
Because I don't know if you guys realize it's one way. It's only
Yeah.
for me.
Yeah, it
Uh,
is.
I will use the remote viewing aspect. So I will. I can enter a trance that lasts for a minute, but it ends early if I dismiss it and all that. And I can see and hear as if I'm in the position the token is in.
You sort of stand there, close your eyes, and go through your mandible. So
Screaming gets louder.
Yeah, you hear the screaming. So we're sort of like holding it in the hand, hoping it
And
does
sort of like
something.
hide it in her
It
bag.
twitches.
You can hear purring.
Yeah, you hear purring. You see a blonde man with blue eyes and a beard standing on a roof, very not inconspicuous from this position.
I turn, which makes that turn, which trips him out for a second. Really weird.
But you realize that they can see you and you know where they are.
Like, all right, I will then dismiss it and then make my way over.
Yeah.
Oh,
All
that's
right,
cool.
so there is a main street you have to cross, so you'd have to make a jump of some kind here. You can try and YOLO it with strength with the athletics check, or are you looking to try and cross the street?
Yep. Yeah. Strength it is.
Okay.
Yep.
Yes, is the only answer.
Look, guys, I don't have. I'm using all of my things. I jump. I try and jump because it's the
Yeah.
best I've got. It's
Go
either
ahead.
that or like I start casting third level
Roll
spells.
athletics.
I mean, there's more wild shapes, right?
Do I have to?
Yeah, you do. So roll a 1.
It's alright.
Oh, that was
Yeah,
really
I think-
20.
Yeah, you run. Some of the tiles crack beneath your feet because you're a big freaking dude, and you leap from one rooftop to the other across. As you leap over, you look down and see your centipede's now gone. The 2 dudes who were in the cart is actually now moving away as the people who were there appear to be like driving it out of the situation. You see another cart. Actually, both other carts from the further down are basically backed up a bit down the street, as this commotion has kind of stopped them from progressing.
Are they really on fire?
Oh, the cart that is moving away is burnt. It's burnt. Giant orb of fire burns everything around at every turn. So you lit that cart on fire. They had to spend a minute putting out the fire as they moved it away.
Happy fucking birthday.
And then, you do the jump across to the other side as you meet up with the group. And we'll, last but not least, Xavier, you confidently think you're passing as, I'd say, Tara, are you gonna do anything before we skip over you?
Should just stay with this group.
Okay. Xavier, you seem like you are passing as a scared civilian, albeit a rather large one.
In armor.
You see a group of a platoon heading towards your direction. You see the platoon in front of you heading up and then turning right to get to the main street. What are you doing?
Well, I believe the term is act natural.
Alright, so your goal is just to keep going with the crowd for now?
Yeah, keep going with the crowd for now. When I get told where everybody else is, I'll go to them. But for now, I don't know where we're fucking going, so I'm just gonna,
Alright, the crowd keeps
Okay.
running.
Yeah.
And you keep going with the crowd. You notice these groups of Warforged who are moving this direction move basically through the crowd, don't even see, they keep moving past you. They don't seem to bat an eyelid at you as they have something they're heading towards, and a bunch of scared civilians don't seem to be what they're worried about. For now, you aren't, it seems, in anyone's direct, you aren't directly in any danger, but you're on your own in a city. The only thing keeping you hidden is a crowd of scared civilians, which the further you get, the less they're kind of running crazily.
As the
So, what are you gonna do? Yeah. You saying AJ?
I was gonna end it there, but if Xavier wanted to say if he's gonna do something else.
Are you gonna keep moving the crowd, try to stay inconspicuous with the group? See how long that'll take, how far it'll take, or are you gonna try and split off and do something else?
Those guards that were unloading everything,
Mm-hmm.
were we wearing similar-ish armor? Or... No. Okay. So I can't...
they're wearing very like black leathers with
Black leathers. Okay. And I'm wearing this. All right. This ain't gonna work.
actually double check what they're wearing. And they're incorporating black into their uniform. Yeah, they're also they're wearing they're both they're all wearing splint, but there's like the leather parts of their splint armor is like that black.
Yeah, my splints. I made sure it was black.
You can't pass
When I
them
bought
these
it.
days. I'm just
I can't pass as these guys, no.
No.
Can I look for somewhere to muck up my armor so it might look a bit more like these guys' armor? Like,
you wanna
rub it in mud or something? Or charcoal?
So you're looking for charcoal and mud.
Or something like that.
Make a perception check. Something to basically dirty up your armor so it's not going to stand out as much.
Yes.
Yeah.
I
Perception
will.
away.
Okay. I have advantage because of the eye patch. Actually, I'm gonna burn a first level spell slot.
Okay. 4.
Inquisitor's Eye.
Okay.
It gives me an extra D4.
Okay.
I feel like I'm gonna need it.
So you add 2 to this.
Perception.
19. Do you have +0 to perception?
Yeah, I just have advantage.
Nice. Well, yeah, you are in a city. The ground is not all paved stones. There is dirt as well mixing. You know, it's not like it's a perfectly paved road. You're in there are alleyways around. You can easily find gunk of some variety. Either it's mud, because in winter it has been raining every so often. Not raining today, but there's still, you know, wet areas where you could take advantage of that. You could probably find like an area someone's dumped that like the ash from a fireplace, where you can try to like basically attempt to dirty yourself up.
Yeah. Dirty myself up to look like I'm part of the guard, at least. And not immediately spark that much attention.
It'd be hard to make yourself look like you're part of the guard, because like you have a similar armor make, but it's just a different style and tell. But you can make it so like you're at least not going to be drawing attention by wearing like bright shining armor everywhere you go.
You could probably
Like, their armor was also not giant and shiny.
You could probably distract the civilians, but like if you want
Another guard would know.
another guard would not know who you are.
Essentially, this would be an effective disguise, probably against most civilians.
Yeah, okay. I'm gonna...
Do so?
I think I'll do that. I'm gonna try and look for the others.
Yeah, easy. So what we'll do, because I think it's very fun.
Yeah.
Cutting across the city, we have Arkfer on a rooftop by himself, looking at the commotion as a bunch of civilians are now being harmed due to his direct action. We have Sylvie, Christine, Terracat, and Inazaz Human standing up on a rooftop, various states of crouched and hiding, as below them groups of these Warforged are gathering in response to the silent signal that was sent out. And then even further west, you have Xavier stepping out of an alleyway with his armor now dirtied and a bit less conspicuous. As you step out into the now calming crowds who are looking around in confusion, looking for your friends. And I think that's where we're ending it for tonight.
This about
Man,
went well.
It went,
Better
we
than
had.
expected.
I mean, listen, it's not the worst we expected.
Oh.
The moment Xavier jumped out the cart, this is the best like ending to this I could see.
I mean, Sam was very correct earlier. He wrote, I think AJ and Darren prepared for this. We prepared for several different situations because we didn't think that any particular one was better than the other. So yeah, we prepared a bit for this.
Yeah, we let it. We sort of leave scenarios like this a bit fluid, just see what you guys do, because we. Who steps out of a thing says, "Oh, I was knocked out," then giant centipedes start spawning. Like
I will
We don't
spend my
prepare for that.
actions in the whole trying to make it easier for the others.
No,
Yeah.
we're not saying you
No,
didn't do anything
no,
wrong.
it's cool,
We're just
yeah.
saying we didn't prepare for everything. We just
We
leave it
did.
loose.
There was always a chance that every single person snuck away, but the trying to, if we were around the idea of everyone performing successful stealth checks to sneak away from groups of guards in a crowded city, that's just a dumb thing if that's the only option you prepare.
Yeah.
Like, sure, it's a best case scenario. There's like no chance that's gonna happen though.
No.
Oh, I was spotted immediately.
But
Yeah, just, the dice fucked you early on.
Love that.
I couldn't really do much.
I mean, could have waited.
Like, best case scenario, I get polymorphed into a rat,
To be
and then
fair,
we just all sneak out.
to be completely honest, your wagon was pretty good.
Yeah, that's what
Yeah.
I figured.
I think you could have just waited it out.
Yeah.
Well, with that, we'll deal with this
Yeah.
next week as we
Next week.
figure out what the hell we're doing from here.
Yeah. Frienders, Dimitri, any stream plans you want to introduce?
I stream way too inconsistently to have a plan. I'm probably gonna be streaming Monday, as it is a day off. I'll see about streaming tomorrow, but apart from that, that's all I can guarantee. I do tend to try and stream towards the end of the week due to the fact that I get that time off, but hopefully gonna play more Dead by Daylight. I might stream Elden Ring and be bad at it. Who knows? It's gonna be fun.
Fair enough. Mim?
At the moment, I'm sort of getting back into consistent streaming, so starting off small. I'm just streaming every Friday night at the moment. I've been doing a little Left 4 Dead 2 with Sam and a couple of other friends.
That was twitch.tv/Nox Skyfall, and this is twitch.tv/Sarah. It's in the chat. Speaking of Sam, what about you?
To be honest, with my health and the work, I'm a little bit. I'm trying to fit streams, but that's the best I've got at the moment.
Check out Snowfox AU when that happens. Kay doesn't stream, she's just with me. Tuesday I'm playing Octopath Traveler, Wednesday more Pokemon Black challenged by Nuzlocke. Thursday I'm being subjected to Kingdom Hearts 358 over 2 days. You can watch Kay explain the lore while I get mad at Kingdom Hearts for existing. Friday, I took yesterday off just to chill. I was going to go out, then we didn't go out, and I was like, I was hyping myself up for a day off of streaming, so I just took it. And we're playing Devil May Cry when we get back next week. And then next Friday is, again, no D&D, because the Western Australian people are going out. So, no stream next Friday.
Damn it.
Sad.
And it might be for longer because Kay's going to fucking Japan, so there might be another one or two missing there.
You sure it's not going to be more Destiny?
Yes, because she said
Oh,
she's going to Japan way
Fuck,
longer than
I
she's
just
playing
realized
Destiny.
Kay missed all of this chaos.
Yeah, she gets to watch this.
That's what she gets.
But yeah, in 2 weeks' time, we'll continue with section 66 of Echoes of the Forgotten while they resolve this scenario. But from all of us, thanks and have a good night, and we'll talk to you all later. Bye-bye!
Bye.
Bye.